Crossover. Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover.
It just crossed him over. Danced to
another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
Hey, I have a question. This is the crossover powered by Every Level Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. If you guys did a show together, who would talk more?
Ooh, great question.
Matt.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think it'd be close.
I think Matt would talk more, but Mike would.
You guys just went wire to wire talking about nonsense.
Yeah.
Nonsense.
I think Mike, I think I would, if Mike Schaefer and I did a show, I think it would probably be best if I wrote down the topics and I wrote down, this is what we're going to try and do. And then Mike just tried to derail the whole thing. And then
generally what happened every time I filled in on
every time we filled in, we had really good shows, but it would be like, I would write down like 9 topics. Like that was my thing. I would just write down 9 things that we could talk about, and then I would rank them. That's kind of just how I did stuff. We would probably get to like 3.
Mm-hmm.
There was one day where we got to 2, and it was just a whole lot of. That was the Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes day.
Yeah, that was a day.
That was a day indeed, where we allowed a
what was the argument?
I was trying to give more credit to Jalen Hurts, and Mike was not going to stand for it. And then
Probably
it was about 33 minutes because I somehow roped in.
This is why you guys talk, because neither of you can accept
being wrong.
Correct.
Yes.
And
so that's not
well. I mean, look. I think that if we are having a good time, right, we won't concede. There have been moments I've conceded with you because I'm like, this isn't fun. Like I'm probably just wrong, and this isn't enjoyable. With Mike, it'd be a little different. We were just having an incredible conversation of comparing Nebraska football eras to countries based on their history.
I heard it.
It was awesome.
I never had nothing to add.
I think Mike hit
I just didn't really care about it.
I think
much.
Mike hit the nail on the head that Nebraska under Scott Frost is Greece.
Why is that funny?
It's not a lot. It's great.
Once great land that no longer wants to work.
Yeah.
Traditional war power that just completely crumbled.
3 days.
Watched everything else around.
You could argue that Nebraska as a program is like that.
Greece.
Yeah, Nebraska football.
Right.
But
he was saying specifically Frost.
But I think with like Greece, right? Like the joke, but it's not fully a joke, is the whole 3-day work week. And
the drop out of effort.
Yeah.
So I
don't think Matt Rule is like that at all. I'll tell you, for the shortcomings that are the Rule program so far, there hasn't been a lack of work. They've been trying. They've been really trying.
They were.
Some say they're try hard.
I mean,
some might say
they work. I don't know if you would even say that they work too hard, because a lot of times the work seems pointless because it's not resulting in anything.
I've thought of that before. I'm like, they do.
So is it really hard work? Or would you rather be like Signetti and practice for an hour and a half a day?
I saw that clip and I was stunned.
Yeah,
it was just like, we got a 25-minute walkthrough.
Yeah.
Do like
so they definitely have the appearance that they're working hard. That's true.
They're like the kid that tells their parents how much they're studying and how well they're doing, how they're doing all their homework, and then they show up with C+. And they're like, but I'm working hard.
Can't be mad at me. They might be. They might just not be good at the work that they're doing.
That's sort of what I mean. So what is that? Where does that come out? What does that actually mean?
What country is that? What you're trying to say?
Are you working hard? Are you working hard if the work doesn't get you anywhere?
Sure. You can't say that they're not working hard. They're just not working effectively. Like there is a
there
difference.
You go. There's definitely a difference.
Because you can certainly put in a lot of work and just not be good at what you do.
That's definitely true. I can speak from experience.
Me too. I have a career built on that.
Yeah.
Ditto.
Yeah, I believe that they're putting in a lot of effort. It's just a question of why hasn't it gotten anywhere?
Is it pointed in the right directions?
And then they would say like, hey, we had to build this back up to this point, and now we're about to jump off.
You remember we stunk? Yes. We've all been here for a long time.
Don't fire me up right now on the crossover. You just pushed my button with the don't you remember we stunk.
They did.
Where's it going to go now?
Yeah. What do you? What's
I don't know.
wrong?
I want to go back to talking about countries because now
I
just,
think that's
this-
fast.
No, we can talk
I
about
worked
Like,
out on it.
I'm totally okay. Like they're not wrong, and I'm totally okay with them saying, "Remember, we stunk in year 1," but like in year 3, like what was it after the Minnesota game? He brought something like that up, like about hey, we're 6-2 in November. Or
program
something
was
like
dead
that.
for a decade.
And then after the USC game, he brought up something either in the lead up to the USC game or after the USC game. He brought up like we're playing a big game in November. Like how often does that happen with this program? And I wasn't the big. And then he had that one big blow up where he was just straight up. This place was dead. He just called it dead. You're not wrong, but I'm not a fan of saying all that stuff in year 3. I hate it. It bothers me so much. Because it's like you've had 3 years. It's your team. It's your players. It's your system. It's your coaches. Like at that point, it just shouldn't be on your mind anymore. I mean, it's your program. It's not his program. He hasn't been here in 3 years. It bothers me.
I think it bothers many.
I think it's a valid and fair complaint.
Like if he said it in year 1, I'd have no problem. I'd have no issue. I'd be like, okay.
I would. Just don't talk about it.
Nah, I wouldn't. I'm still on the. If you wanted to talk about it after year 1, I'd be like, you know what, he's not wrong.
No,
it was whatever. I mean, this is just my opinion.
That's what Frost did.
But-
How'd that work out for
well,
him?
exactly.
There's no reason to do it. And like the best person to talk about this, and obviously he's had a ton of success, but like Urban Meyer has just come out and said, like, why would I want to phrase things like that? It's my
Sure.
program. I'm in charge of all of this.
Sure.
He's like, he talked about this as an analyst. He's like, there's nothing I hate more or cringe more when a coach takes over and then says something to the effect about getting his people there. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
These are
Well,
your people. Either you get them there through your actions
Yeah.
or they leave because of their actions.
That's a
There's
great
no
point.
in between. There's nothing else.
Well, another thing.
And so
too,
it's like, that's when Matt Rule came in. That's what it all sounded like. And that's what it sounded like after year 1. And that's what it sounded like after year 2. And then here in this season, it's gotten a lot more of, well, you know what it was like when we got here. You know this, you know that. Like, we don't need to go back.
I wonder what happened. I wonder what occurred. I'll tell you exactly what occurred. They were very confident. They thought they were going to be good, and they weren't. So they they have to find a way to deflect it. It's funny you bring that up too. Like, remember when he first came in here, he would talk about Nebraska football in the past because he's like, well, we. I wasn't here, but it's still us. Like we still are what we are. That's changed a lot after he's pressure's been put on him.
And I'm totally fine if you're like, hey, we don't carry the baggage of what happened before us. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm totally okay with that. You don't have to reference it. If you don't want to talk about the baggage, don't bring it up.
And also too, I just think it was so ugly that he would do it after failures. Like they would fail stupendously, and then he would be like, "Yeah, today sucked, but remember how bad it used to be." Okay,
it used to be a lot worse.
So there's also I was talking. We won't talk about this on the show because we have a lot. But I was talking to Josh in in our pre-show meeting. It was like, remember mat drills?
Yeah, he wanted to do a segment on mat drills.
I was like, well,
On remembering mat drills.
well,
I,
it's just,
I believe
like
it, I believe
top
my
five
reaction
moments of
to
mat
it
drills.
caused him to not want to talk about it anymore.
$1,000,000%. Josh, and
Like
this
top
is,
5 moments of Matt Drill's history.
well, just the funny thing is that like we were like, oh my god, the workouts in December are like the hardest in the country.
Yeah.
Like the mat drills, like what we put these guys through, like no one's ever been through it
No,
before.
well, don't say we, because that's not true. Most normal people with brains were like, well, they're just working out.
Yeah, but they were like, we're in it. Like they're pushing the sleds and we're
Which
working
they are
outside.
currently all still working out.
Yeah, and so then they would post that graphic on Twitter of like the 10%, but they didn't explain to you what the 10% was, but they would just put it out there to like get everybody going and be like, oh my god, they're doing things, and then they explained, oh yeah, these are like our best, guys who are working out. And then they would reference those graphics at press conferences and be like, well, if you look at the 10% graphics, like,
I don't know why you're talking about this in past tense. Like this is all about to happen in the month of February.
I thought they're not doing them. They did them.
They're still going to have like
They're all working out.
videos. They're still going to have social
But I'm
media
talking
stuff
about the
from it.
mat drill specific.
Oh, well, I mean, again,
I
I don't know the
you
difference.
can replace mat drills with any number of things that like
I don't think they're doing them. which
the
is
social
just
media.
Yeah, they
team
do this
will
every
highlight
year. Remember when they
their
came and they went into the pool? Remember they all went into the pool and splashed around together? That was great. That's, if you care about that type of stuff.
it's just funny. It's just funny to look back and just be like, oh, they're clearly like they
And
just don't want a ton of attention.
In fairness to
Great.
the staff,
I agree.
some of what you're attributing was actually Rocco Spindler, who was talking about it in the sense that, like, he came from Notre Dame, who just played in a national championship, and they're doing these mat drills, and it was blowing his mind how hard Nebraska was
Harder than
working.
anything I've ever done.
It was blowing Rocco Spindler's mind how hard they were working and the fact that they weren't succeeding anything.
Well, that part hadn't happened yet.
They thought they were going to win the Offensive Line of the Year award. That was
The Joe Moore.
the Joe Moore award. They did not. They did not.
It was blowing
Ed
Rocco's.
Donovan Raiola won the No More award.
Nice.
That'd
Nice.
be a good one.
He gone.
That would be a good award to the No More Awards.
It's
You
just
give
all the
it-
people who get fired at the end of the year.
Yeah, well, like across everything. The No More award, actor of the year No More award.
Oh,
goes
I got
to-
one. No more Heinrich Harburg Heinecat.
Yep, that's
Yeah,
gone.
okay.
Thank God. Congratulations,
That would
Heinrich.
be, that would be our niche
You
football
win.
play No More award. The No More award for niche football play goes to.
Amazes me how easily that was on the, like, to be able to just sort of do, you don't have to do it a lot, but you had that option. And then somehow they either never used it in any sort of competent manner,
Correct.
or it just turned into, we're going to try the tush push with an offensive line that can't block up front, struggles to get off the ball, and struggles to move people. And then instead of the guy who's really good when he's in space and running in a sort of an angular way, we want him to go directly into the part of the line that's going to get pushed back into his face.
Oh, and by the way, he's never done it before.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Great idea.
What an
Great idea.
Yeah, that is number one.
When-
Gold medal, no
No
more
more
awards.
awards.
Yeah.
When I discuss my absolute disdain for what Nebraska did on offense and how much I feel like Dana Holgerson is behind the times, that would be a big, we can circle that one over there.
Mm-hmm. That's a big one. That's a big one.
The No More award for football player of the year goes to James Pierce Jr. That'd be
Oh,
another.
as the guy who got arrested.
It's also the guy with 10.5 sacks this season as a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they traded the first, so the Falcons don't have their first round pick.
No,
The Rams, who famously never have picks, have 2 first round picks because of this guy.
Yeah, and he
It was a great draft pick. Like, they did exactly what they wanted out of it.
Yeah, you were looking at Atlanta like, oh wow, they have X, and they got James Pierce, and they got Jalen Walker, and they got all these things, and now he is no more.
What did he do?
So he crashed his car into his girlfriend's car to not allow her to leave.
Is everybody healthy? Is everybody okay?
Yeah, he did.
So I mean, he'll be back.
He did hit a cop with the car.
Is the cop okay?
It hit them in the knee. So the cop
I
hasn't
think everyone
passed
is
away.
going to live without their life being completely upended from
All
a
right.
physical standpoint.
Yeah,
There's a lot to sort out from the criminal court NFL discipline.
He'll probably be back.
He has aggravated assault with a deadly weapon on 2 different people.
I think he'll be back.
I
It
think he'll
also
be back.
took.
I think he'll be back.
It also took 6 cops. There's a video. I hesitate to say it's a great video.
You'd be
but
surprised the
it's-
things that people could do and not go to jail for very long.
Well, also James Pierce Jr. Had people called it the biggest. Some scouts, they were like, this guy has the biggest
Yeah, I saw that.
personality issues we've ever seen from a prospect. And then it took him 1 year
It's really
to
saying
get
something.
aggravated assault with deadly weapon charges and hit a cop with a car.
Surprised he made it that long.
A whole year?
Yeah. I mean, if he had the most character issues ever,
We're just saying
seems
something in
unquantifiable.
a
honestly.
league that has featured Antonio Brown.
You think it would happen right away? Like
Yeah.
he would get drafted and 2 days later it happened?
Yeah.
No, I would think it would.
He was
probably-
celebrating his draft selection.
Well, did you hear? So he was the finalist for the Defensive Rookie of the Year award, and his mom went on the stage, and when they presented the award, they had all the parents of the rookies kind of say something,
I saw it.
and
Too.
his mom was like, "He's got a heart of gold."
He's the best. We love my little Jamie boy.
Yeah, Jamie boy.
That's what I call him.
That's what I call
That's
him.
great though. They had all the parents up there talking about their kids. I watched that show, the NFL Honors.
You watched the NFL Honors?
Yeah,
Sicko.
I watched it. It just
How was
came on.
Ham? How was Ham? Was
Not
it-
funny.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Not funny.
Not funny and not very
relatable.
No, just not very. He wasn't very smooth with it. You know, it was very robotic.
Really? I
Yeah.
would have thought the opposite on both.
That's kind of what I would have thought too.
Was that sarcastic, Josh?
No, Ham is cool, man.
I love John Ham.
Yeah, Ham's cool, but he was no bueno.
He's in the Connor Happer Classic, The Town.
That's right.
Oh, I got to finish the town.
Well, you want me to tell you what happens?
Does John Ham
He
win?
gets a rather vulgar
John
note
Hamm-
on his car.
John Ham kind of wins. I mean,
Yeah.
he gets
he gets
doesn't
Dougie out of.
lose, but he doesn't get to declare victory.
he
He-
gets his pelt on the wall.
Does Dougie's got to move? Dougie left.
Dougie goes on the lamb a little
So
bit.
can I?
yeah.
So you don't have to. I don't spoil it for me, but I'll finish the town tomorrow. Not today.
You
I'll
will.
finish it tomorrow.
I'm gonna put you at a no.
Me too.
Why? Why do you guys say that?
You've been saying this for 3 weeks.
We're closing in on nearly a month,
Yeah.
and I don't know if you hadn't just finished it after you started it.
The Super Bowl happened. The Super Bowl occurred yesterday, and
Yeah.
when we started the town, it was the divisional playoff game.
There was an entire weekend where there was no football.
Mhm.
Nebraska played on a Sunday. You weren't going to that. I guess you had Blue Jay overreaction.
Blue Jay overtime.
Blue Jay overreaction.
I know
time.
about that show.
Listener of the show,
I
texter
listen.
of the show.
I mean, you could have.
I texted Matt about Shaheen Holloway's
You could've
statue-like nature while not calling a timeout.
Like it's that I kind of
he turned to stone.
I kind of mentioned it because I didn't want to be overly critical of Seton Hall because it's not Seton Hall overreaction, it's Blue Jay overreaction, or Blue Jay overtime. Jeez, and
overreaction time.
and I'm sitting there and I'm like, I looked at Joey. I go, kind of weird. Didn't call a timeout, right? And Joey goes, yeah, I thought it was weird. I'm like, yeah, kind of strange. I thought he would immediately get a text message from Connor.
It's like, no, Shaheen messed that up. So, long story short, you ain't watching it.
Okay, so
So
but here's
what was your question?
here's my prediction though. So Connor already kind of like spoiled it to me when they were talking about like his mom in Florida. That he was like, listen to this. This is a key part. You
No, I said afterwards, and then you said something about the oranges, and I said, interesting.
and then so I predict that Dougie in some sort of way ends up in Florida with his mother or whatever. And then I think Jeremy Renner's character, I don't remember his name.
Jem,
Yeah, he dies.
he does.
How
Okay, you weren't supposed to spoil
He gets shot in
that.
the face.
Well, yeah.
how far did we get?
John
in the
Hamm just
town?
told the chick,
Basically, to
You know his mom is dead, right?
there's no mom involved, but
no, wait, no. He said his mom ran away and went to Florida.
Yeah, you
no,
find out
well,
about
yeah,
you're
that.
gonna find out more about that.
What do you
later.
do? I told you can't spoil it. I said I was
Turns
gonna
out
watch it tomorrow.
That it was not just a I ran away situation.
You guys just spoiled it.
You-
Why would
there's
I
a
watch
whole-
it? I just watched the town.
There's a whole section of the movie that you haven't really been inundated to yet.
and clearly I've
the-
just been inundated to it.
No, the flower shop. You don't know anything about the flower
Yeah,
shop.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
you don't know anything about the flower shop.
He knows of its existence, but
Yeah.
not.
Not what goes on at the flower shop.
I guess Jem being killed.
Not surprising.
No,
Shouldn't
no,
be surprised
no.
by that. It wasn't
Adam,
surprising when it
First
happened.
time he opens his mouth, you should know. Oh, that
Yeah.
guy's going to
Oh,
die in
yeah,
the end of this
yeah.
movie.
If
Right.
we were going to sell you on this, I think you would enjoy what their final heist is and what they're attempting to do.
Definitely.
So you wouldn't
Sports
really
related.
know.
I think if
It is
you
sports
I
related.
see my belief is that if you need to do multiple heists, you're not very good at your job.
What?
You should just one heist and you're done. One heist should do it all. You should only have to heist
What if you
once.
want more money?
No, the heist should be big enough where you're like, all right, we're good.
No,
We've
then you get
stolen
a
one.
dick-
the one
it's
in
about the
charge of
rush.
How many heists that you
Yeah.
get to do? which
I
is
think if you're
the
doing
point of the flower
I
shop.
think if you're doing more than 2 heists, you're not good at heisting.
You think it's that easy? You think you can just make $30 million on one heist and that's it?
I think
You
I
got
could.
to do
also-
tiny heists to get to the big heist.
Mhm.
How many tiny heists do you have to do to get to the big
Quite a
heist?
few.
A bunch. You
Yeah.
have to try, and you have to try to do heists.
I
I don't know if
I
you
think-
understand the flow chart of crime either.
You don't just
Continue.
do one big crime and that's it.
I think you should work up to, because no one will see it coming. Because the thing is that now you're at the point where it's like they've done
Yeah, but
enough
then you don't
heists where
have
they
enough
know that they're doing the heist, but they can't.
yeah, but how else are you going to gain experience to do the heist that is the big heist.
But I don't think that you should be putting yourself in a situation of harm over and over and over again, where
do
you're
you
already
think the
committed
people
multiple
doing
crimes.
You just want a
Heist or the
rookie
shot
quarterback to
caller?
come in and win the Super Bowl every year?
I
That's not
think-
how it works.
I think I could not.
Did the Seahawks heist the Super Bowl?
Because Sam Darnold had the experience that was requisite to
I
be
just
able to
think
win
if
the Super Bowl.
you're just doing heist over and over and over and over again, clearly you're not shooting high enough.
You do risk yourself to more exposure.
Exactly.
But the experience of doing the heist leads to your ability to do the big heist.
So, but do you have to, like, the little heist that you're talking about? Like, where does it start? Like, does it?
They're
start,
all banks.
Does it? Okay.
In this particular movie.
I was gonna say, do you heist a gas station from candy?
I'm sure they probably.
That's just called a robbery.
Yeah, but I think
Right,
you can
right.
They were like, "Oh, I actually kind of like this. Maybe we should do heist."
I think the gas station heist probably is like the walkthrough at a hotel before the Super Bowl.
Again, I don't know that it's a heist.
it's just a
What's
robbery.
what is
let's
what's the
get a
difference
definition.
between a
A
heist
heist-
and a robbery?
My guess is somewhere along the lines you'll find the word like highly planned, coordinated, stuff like that. A robbery is just like, hey, I took a couple Diet Cokes.
See,
Right.
Blue Jay 6 writes, this conversation is essentially the plot of GTA 5. He is correct.
Exactly. You have to do a bunch of little heists to then do a big
how
one.
many but how many heists do they do in the town? It sounds like they do like
Oh, they only do.
Well, you get
they only
dropped
do
in,
one
they'd
other
already
one.
done several.
The
heists.
beginning and
I
the
know
end?
that's what if you're doing
Yeah.
double digit
One other
heists,
one.
this is more so what I'm
There's
talking
3
about.
total. You see 3 in the movie.
The
I
first
think-
one, the opening credits, the last one with the sports reference.
The middle one where they're wearing the nun's outfit.
Oh, they steal the truck.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Three very
think-
good.
I-
movie
Good
heists.
heists.
I think 3 heists is the perfect amount of heists.
It's a great bank robbery movie.
But you could tell when they did their first heist that they had done many other heists.
Exactly. That's
before.
my problem. I'm like, if you're double digit heisting, you're not very good at
It
heisting.
takes place in the bank robbery capital of the world.
I would argue that that's how you get good at heisting.
I think 3 is the perfect.
Got to
number.
have the reps.
Absolutely.
I think
You can't just walk in and pretend that you're going to be the best heister.
I think I'm Ocean's 11 pilled.
I think you're a little overconfident in the heisting ability.
They didn't make it look that hard. They just kind of brought in guns.
because they had done it before a million times.
Yeah, but how like hard is it really to like walk in? I'm just being honest.
How hard is it to rob a bank?
Yeah, I mean,
very hard.
well. What
Let's check history.
Ask the Chiefsaholic.
This is good. Keep picking at this.
I'm just saying, what did they do in the first heist? They had somebody who worked at the systems company that ran the alarm, right? One of those guys worked there. So they knew how to disable the alarm, okay? And then they walked in and they had big guns, okay?
How
and
else do you think they'd know they would encounter all of these
This
things?
is what makes it a heist.
I don't know. Maybe if you just look at blueprints, you can be like, oh, there's an alarm.
This isn't-
Publicly available blueprint.
on banks.
Oh, I'm going to go to the U.S. Bank blueprint.
What do you
I
think they
would-
do
my-
to Clorox the whole place before they left? Well, years and years of heisting experience.
That was a nice touch. You could tell they did their research.
absolutely.
How many times
How
have
many bank robbing movies have you watched? Like, is this the first one?
no?
Have you seen Hell or High Water?
No.
Oh, that's a
great
good
movie.
one.
Bank robbing movies?
Point Break.
There's
Heat,
like a half
Point
of
Break.
Jason Statham's movies
Yeah.
fall into this
the
category.
beginning of The Dark Knight.
You're right. The one where
Good one.
he Clint Eastwood's son's in it. He's hot. He's a good looking guy.
Scott
Yeah.
Eastwood. Yeah.
Scott Eastwood, he's in it. That's a Statham bank robbing movie where
Yeah,
they
well, there's
ran-
a.
I've seen that
It's
one.
just called The Bank Robbers.
I've Ocean's 11, but that's a casino rob.
It's,
That's
similar.
a heist
Similar
movie.
concept.
Ant-Man, great heist movie.
Heist of Time.
Is Ant-Man a heist?
It is a heist movie. He's got to go. He steals the Ant-Man suit to start.
I think there's a movie called Bandits with Billy Bob Thornton and Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
and
There's got to
they-
be a movie called Time Heist, right?
Well, that's just what Avengers
Stoppers.
Endgame was.
All right.
Time Heist. It has to be a movie.
There's a Doctor Who episode called Time Heist, apparently.
Time Heist would be a movie that I would watch a lot.
But it would be a comedy. It
What
had to
a
be a comedy
concept.
movie.
There's a musical artist that goes by the name Time X Heist.
Oh,
Now you got to listen to him.
Is
on
that
the way home.
SZA?
no, I'm not. No.
time heist movie. I'm trying to cast who would be in a time.
Well, it's
heist
basically
movie.
that one movie with Justin Timberlake.
Oh, in
In
time.
Time.
In
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. That's a great movie.
Yeah.
Cillian Murphy's in that movie.
Yeah.
You know, he plays Leonard from Big Bang Theory's in that movie.
Yeah.
A woman like 4 years older than Justin Timberlake plays his mom.
That's right.
Hey, look,
That's the time.
Justin Timberlake's impossible for me. I can only
whoa,
see him
whoa.
as Justin Timberlake, never as an actor.
See, that's
it's
the thing.
Justin Timberlake playing
All right,
something.
I'll make you guys.
It's never him as an actor.
I'll make you guys feel old. I had to find out Justin Timberlake was a singer.
I mean, I can believe that.
Like
that.
You had to
Like-
find out that JFK Jr. exists.
I figured that's
Yeah,
where we were
I
going.
believe
when
that
you
like
said-
completely.
I
Yeah.
like his in sync. Like I didn't know that existed until after I saw his
That makes
movies.
sense. It was happening while you
So
were a
like
toddler.
6-year-old you is just like Alpha Dogs is where Justin Timberlake began his
No,
entire career.
SNL. SNL.
Just hosting SNL. He's
Yeah.
hosting
I thought he
SNL
was-
for
so
no
how-
reason.
How
I just thought he was the all-time SNL host. Was Justin
like
Timberlake.
all-time quarterback?
Yeah. I just thought he was the host of SNL.
He was good at hosting
like,
SNL.
Like
Yeah.
all every time I tune in, it'd be
That's
him
incredible.
hosting SNL.
No
And I'm
part
But
of
you
your
never
brain-
wondered, like,
No,
where did this guy come from?
I thought he was so talented. I was just thought he was. It made even 6-year-old me knew what talent looked like.
You probably looked and you were
You
like,
feel
oh,
like
he was
this guy
on
wasn't
Mickey
a
Mouse
comedian?
Clubhouse.
He wasn't. You never felt like you needed to figure out who he was.
No, ever. I was just like, this guy's great. He's funny. He's intelligent. He plays the banjo. You know, he
He's
sings.
very funny.
You know, bring it on down to Rappinville.
Yeah, I like
Like,
I
I
like
was-
his SNL stuff.
I was just like, I was enamored by him. And then I found out later he was a part of a band. And then
Big
he was,
part of it.
Then he was in a
I
Matt
would have
McMaster.
learned about his solo act before the band.
Yeah, this so I mean he was ripping off
He's
albums
huge.
solo like during
I've
that
never
time.
listened. I've never listened to a solo Justin Timberlake album.
What? That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got great songs.
He had one recently.
He's got
yeah.
great. He's got great
Well, yeah, but
songs. I know a
even-
lot of
I
Justin
guess
Timberlake songs, but I've never like looked up a Justin Timberlake
2005
album
Matt
and
would have been-
went through it.
Yeah, 2005. Matt was like 3.
Was 3 years old. Well, it
Okay.
depends on when. In
Justified came
2005.
out in November of 2002.
I wasn't even. I was 7 months old.
He did an album probably 10 years ago now that was pretty good. Something about mirrors. Something
yeah,
like,
yeah.
that song was on there. Yeah,
No, back of me.
exactly. That sounds good.
2013.
Well,
Wow,
so
2013.
that was when he came out, when he did a solo album in 2013. I remember my mom was like, he hasn't done an album in forever. This
That
is
was a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was another introduction to being like, oh, this guy did more than act. But he was in the Matt McMaster Classic in Time, which was a top 5 movie of mine for a long time. Until I watched it again and I realized that it wasn't that good.
I would like to hear about the Matt McMaster classics.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Same.
definitely.
The Martian, Matt
Good
McMaster
one.
Classic.
Good one.
Ford vs. Ferrari, Matt McMaster Classic.
Dad movie.
Interstellar, Matt McMaster
These are all movies that
Classic.
have come out in the last 6 years.
Interstellar's 10 years, I think. At this point.
Monsters Inc.
Okay, there you go.
Star Wars, Clone Wars 2. The
Okay.
second Star Wars prequel movie was a Matt
Never-
McMaster
never
Classic.
saw it.
Wimbledon with Paul Bettany.
Talked about
Um,
this.
He does talk
a month
about
ago.
Wimbledon a lot.
He does.
Hitch with Will Smith.
Mhm.
It's good. I like Hitch.
And dude, I quote Hitch all the time.
Eva Mendes.
God, she was great in that movie.
She was great, or
She was so.
Yeah.
that's what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, just say it. It's fine. Kevin James.
She's
Trying to think of
moderately
more.
attractive.
I keep waiting for something like I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry to get dropped in here.
Yeah, give me a Kevin James flick. You know,
you know what? Paul Blart Mall Cop came out when I was 8 years old.
is
and
that
that
is
was-
that a
Okay.
Matt
And
Master
that was
classic?
like, yeah, that was great. And the girl, there was a Disney actress, like his daughter was like in Disney. She was an actress on Disney, and I was a big.
I
fan of
don't
it.
remember
Oh my
anything
god,
about
the
that
game
movie.
plan, the game plan with The Rock and Madison Pettis,
Okay.
where The Rock plays a quarterback for the Boston Rebels. Joe
And he's also
something.
the Tooth Fairy.
No, but then like he finds out he had a daughter, like, and then he didn't know he had a daughter, so then he has to become like a babysitter. Oh, the game plan! What a movie!
Okay.
That was a
Oh, it's
great
like a
movie.
kids movie.
Yeah, that was a
Interesting.
Disney movie. I mean, all the High School Musical movies are Matt McMaster classics.
I've never.
What do you
seen
mean
any
all
of,
of them?
There's 3 of them. There's High
There's
School
3?
Musical 1,
I figured there was
where they're
only
in
2.
high school. There's High School Musical 2, where they're on summer break, and then High School Musical 3, senior year, where they graduate. Yeah.
Senior year.
They don't
year.
graduate in the first one.
27-year-old Zac Efron, senior year.
No. High School Musical 1 is about Zach winning the state title along with balancing his secret love for being in musicals.
But he was what, a sophomore?
He was a junior.
What an incredible job to do all that as a junior.
High School Musical 2 was about summer break and him, them kind of getting jobs and like living the life as high schoolers. And then High School Musical
all
3,
three movies theoretically took place within a year, within a calendar year. And how much real time passed between?
About 7.
So it's basically like Cobra Kai. Community where they're at a community college.
Yeah.
It's like a 2-year degree, but they're there for 7 years.
It's over a span of a decade.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, the High School Musical movie was great. That's where I learned Vanessa Hudgens.
You
Ashley
learned
Tisdale.
Vanessa Hudgens.
Ashley Tisdale.
Getting ready to speak Vanessa Hudgens, buddy.
Dude, yeah, seriously. What do you know about Vanessa Hudgens?
I saw her in High School Musical, and I remember thinking, I don't think I.
She had a
need to be
really long
watching this.
relationship with Austin Butler, and then they ended up breaking up. It was heartbreaking. Yeah, I
can't stop being Lance Armstrong.
I brought up Austin Butler just so you can do your Elvis thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Oh, wow. You didn't say thank you very much. That's crazy.
Thank you.
Oh, I really lobbed that up for you.
I did. All right. That's the crossover. Powered by
is.
Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. That was a good one.
To answer the question, clearly Matt would talk more than Mike.
Actually, yes, that answered it pretty well.
I was shocked that question even came up.
You guys just go black and blah, 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 blah.
Well, we
blah.
got into a great topic that I kind of wanted to get into in terms of armies and countries and war and history.
I bet you wanted to get into. What topic don't you want to get into? Tell me one topic that you don't want.
Ooh.
That I don't want to get into.
Yeah. That's not like obviously low-hanging fruit of like politics.
Okay.
You
Jimmy
think about
Johnson.
that. You think about that.
The commercials. He doesn't want to talk about the commercials.
I have no
today.
interest. I have zero interest to talk about commercials.
There you go. Don't
Zero.
then. You have the freedom to not do so.
I'm not going to. Except the one with Ben Stiller was good. That's the only one I care about. That's pretty solid. All right, that's crossover. Proud by
Read the
Everlove
sign.
Concrete Repair in Omaha at everloveconcrete.com. Middays from that up next. I was trying to get out. You kept pulling
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people.
Whose car are we gonna take?
I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest. That's an absolutely horse crap call.
Make room for Daddy! But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Chicago is.
This is Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt here on 1620 The Zone. Matt McMaster, as always, joined by Josh Odson here on this beautiful, beautiful Monday. A Monday which many people believe you should have off. I think that's silly. Are you in agreement with that?
Yeah,
I've never agreed with the whole.
I don't need this day off.
I don't need this day off.
The game got over at what, 9:30?
Sunday
Night Football goes later each and every week.
It's just
the Super Bowl
because people want to drink. That's what really all this boils down to is that the Super Bowl in people's mind should be this big drinking activity, and they don't like the fact that they either don't drink as much as they would like to drink, or you have to go to work hungover. You know, they don't like that option.
I mean,
they don't
you
like
could
one or
just
the other. Not drink,
not get blitzed,
there you go,
or get blitzed earlier, and then the come down is.
Or you just get
earlier in
blitzed
the day
over and over and over again and use Devon Witherspoon off the edge like you haven't done the entire season and actually blitz him. Devon Witherspoon, out of all his blitzes this season, used 22% of them against New England yesterday. Great stat. Got that from Ben Solak.
Dots guy.
22% of the time that Devon Witherspoon blitzed this season came yesterday where he had 2 sacks. As somebody who bet Devon Witherspoon to win the Super Bowl MVP, was very excited when he got that first sack.
Whoa.
It was plus 10,000 for him to win the Super Bowl MVP.
Little flyer.
Little $5 donation. Never hurt anybody. Because I was like, this game probably will be I did not think either of the quarterbacks were going to win Super Bowl MVP. Let's just put it that way. I was like, if there's going to be a weird...
You were right about that?
MVP game or Super Bowl.
Right.
This would be it. This is drawing it up. So I was like, why not? I'm gonna put $5 here. I think the last time a corner or a DB won a Super Bowl MVP was the Tampa Bay Super Bowl. So it's been a while since and now Tampa Bay 2020. I'm talking about Tampa Bay with John Gruden. So it's been a while since that happened. But Kenneth Walker wins Super Bowl MVP yesterday. The Seattle Seahawks are your Super Bowl champions. We will talk all about that. People on Twitter have, talked about, this is what a boring Super Bowl winner, or, they're not one of the greatest teams of all time, which they're not one of the greatest teams of all time. But they've kind of, taken shots to Seattle on their way to winning a Super Bowl. That's your fault. That's not Seattle's fault. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about Sam Darnold, because maybe this is one of those things where I can't speak to ever. There's never ever been a Sam Darnold before, right? I'm sure somebody might be able to pull out, this guy in the 80s or this guy in the 70s. But in my lifetime, I can tell you with full confidence that I've never seen anybody like Sam Darnold before in terms of the journey he took to accomplish what he accomplished yesterday. So we'll discuss that. We'll also talk about Nebraska basketball. Isn't it awesome just to root for a good team? Isn't it just great to
It's a lot less stressful.
Isn't it just great to just sit down and turn on the TV and just know what product you're going to get? You just sit down and you turn on your television, you go to the channel, and you just know what you're going to watch.
Consistency is great.
It is awesome. Consistency is the key to life. And it's also the key to sports. And it's the key to my sport heart, because I love the teams that I root for, but the teams that I root for outside of Nebraska basketball are wildly inconsistent from not only game to game, but season to season in terms of what they want to accomplish and how they're going to accomplish those things. Not Nebraska basketball. Who would have thought?
Whoa.
Who would have thought that all of the pain that I've been through in terms of my sport fandom would be healed by Nebraska basketball of all programs and teams that I have a vested interest in? So shout out them. We'll talk about their 12-point victory against Rutgers on the road over the weekend. Another team here in Nebraska won over the weekend. Their name is the Creighton Blue Jays. Holy hell, Josh. Okay, so they were down 15. This is a good story. They were down 15 to Georgetown, and I do Blue Jay overtime. Okay, so I gotta get to the station basically 5, maybe 10 minutes after the final buzzer, right? It gives me about a 20-minute window to get ready for the show, and then John hands it over to me, and then we go. So they're down 15 to Georgetown with like 2 minutes left, and I go, okay, I can get out of here. Like, I can leave. Like, this game's over. Like, nothing is going to happen in these last 2 minutes where it's just going to be, all right, like they're not going to win.
Sure.
Okay. So I get in the car, I go down Dodge, I go to Wendy's, I pull into Wendy's, I get a $6 biggie bag, I get out of the drive-thru, I go back down Dodge, I pull into the parking lot, I'm walking in to the station, and the game is just finishing. And I'm like, what the hell happened, Joey? Like, what do you mean the game just finished? Like, I thought in my head, the game was done when I got to the car. Okay. And Joe was like, yeah, no, Fedor made all these threes and like they extended the game and they took timeouts and they did this. Like, it just took forever because Fedor couldn't stop missing. So fast forward to Saturday where Creighton is down 9 with 1:30 left. I am putting on my coat. I'm grabbing my bag. I'm about to walk out of the door. And I swear to you, Josh Hodson, I go, you know what? This happened last time. I'm just gonna let the clock hit 0 here. And then I'll leave. Like, I'll let the clock hit 0 and then I'll walk out the door. Even though it's 1:30 with they're down 9. They're not gonna win. I'll just wait though. Because it's just better safe than sorry. They came back and won. Fedor did it again.
They sure did.
Fedor did it again, where he just made all the threes. He had 2 points with Fedor Zukic had 2 points with 4 minutes left in that game. He finished with 13. Hit a bunch of threes. And Nick Graves, who before he took that final buzzer beater, and we'll talk about that buzzer beater in depth later in the show, had made one shot the entire game. Makes that shot for Creighton. And they pick up a very needed, very big win against Seton Hall. It's funny how college basketball works. Creighton, kind of this start of the inconsistencies and the ups and downs and, not winning 2 games in a row in 2026 started at Seton Hall. So because they that game got stolen from them. I mean, they should not have lost that game at Seton Hall, and Seton Hall should not have lost that game to Creighton. But yet, that's just kind of how things work. They pull off a big victory. Can they continue that success in the month of February? Josh Hodson and I will discuss later in the show, along with the fact that North Dakota State no longer in the FCS. They are moving to the Mountain West Conference. They're moving to FBS. What does that mean? What does that mean for FCS football? What does that mean for FBS football? What does that mean for Mountain West football? What does that mean for just where we're headed? And I'm not surprised that this happened. I think that people could have, kind of saw the writing on the wall a little bit in terms of the fact that just when you're talking about the trickle down, right, of everything that's happened in terms of talent being dispersed across the country and transfers going, like, essentially if you were a non-Power 5 all-conference player, right? If you make your all-conference team in like the Sun Belt, or you make your all-conference team in the Mountain West, or you make your all-conference team, if you're a G5 all-conference player, do you know what you're doing? You're going to a P5 place, right? You're transferring, you're leaving. And how would that trickle down, right, affect places, like South Dakota State, North Dakota State? How would those, that trickle down affect places like Old Dominion and James Madison and Tulane and North Texas? How would that affect it? And I think that North Dakota State, they've done a great job. I mean, they've won 10 of the last 15 FCS national championships. They've done a great job of just kind of battling through all that, and still being successful and still having a great program and still winning. And so I think they go ahead and they look at where they're at and they go, okay, hey, we've accomplished what we've needed to accomplish at the FCS level. It's now all about being at the big boy table and all about being, a respected program at the FBS level. We're to be at the big boy table. We eventually need to be in the FBS. We got to go there. And so now they've transferred, they're moving into the FBS. They're moving into the Mountain West. So we'll have a conversation about that. We'll just have a conversation about the entire NFL season in general. Are you fired up for baseball, Josh Hodson?
Hell yeah. This week is the week.
I wore my baseball stuff.
Look at you.
For you.
Being festive.
It's the start of baseball season. Or more importantly, for all the people who haven't been with us on Middays with Matt, who haven't cared about college basketball, come to Papa. Come to Papa. Come to us. A lot of people are like, oh, wow, baseball season. When do pitchers and catchers report? No, Josh Hodson.
No.
College basketball season, baby. We are fully sinking our teeth.
Okay.
I've already fully sunk my teeth into college basketball, but for those who now don't have anything, come to us. Come to us, baby. And by the way, John Rothstein, he posted his, so he does this funny video. Okay. Connor Happer and you would watch the John Rothstein video and think it's nerdy and think it's a little ridiculous.
Okay.
I watched the John Rothstein video and I think it's funny. Okay. He's being a dork, but I like it. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of him being a dork in this capacity. He always posts a video after the Super Bowl being like, my fellow Americans, welcome to college basketball season.
Oh, okay.
Right. And he's like, hey, welcome. Here we go. Right. And it's a fun video and I enjoy watching it.
His day of sorts.
He brought up Nebraska basketball in that video. Never would I think in a million years that Rothstein would make that video and he would be like, welcome everybody to college basketball. Welcome to our sport. Here we go. Sit down. Here's what I need to inform you of and what you need to look for. And Nebraska basketball is a headline.
There's a lot of movie clips at the beginning of this one.
He edits this like I make intros. It's a lot of YouTube drops. It's a lot of YouTube drops. It's a lot of movie quotes. It's a lot of nothing. So
2.5 minutes long.
Doug in Idaho goes, Matt McMaster for college basketball takes. Yes, I am. I am here. I thought or is college basketball takes or college baseball takes? Because I will not have college baseball takes.
But probably basketball, right? I did get an email.
Oh, go ahead.
From Sam in Elkhorn. Tell Matt thanks.
Oh.
Took his advice on Seahawks winning the Super Bowl in early December. $50 turned into a nice payday.
Nice. I
Interesting.
told people, Matt McFutures, I won $430 yesterday.
Hello.
In gambling. Okay. 1-800-bets off. Okay. Gamble responsibly. Love our guy, Mike. I did do it responsibly, but your boy had a square pools. Had a good time.
Really? I'll bet Vegas won a lot of money yesterday.
Oh, it's fun. I was thinking that during the game.
I was like,
I
know I haven't hit any.
I was like, I hit nothing. Matt Collins +2 receptions at both halves. Not even competitive. Onside kick recovery though. I got really excited.
You called me.
I did call you.
I was. See, here's the thing about having the job I have and having a child. I have to put my child to bed at halftime, and then
and then go and watch.
I have to watch the commercials in case we talk about the commercials, and I have to watch the game in case we talk about the game.
Josh,
so I can't make up any time during the game, so I have to put my phone down.
Josh, look at my eyes. Yeah. Look at me. Yeah. I love you. I hope
right back at you.
I hope we do this show for a long time,
at least a decade.
I want to tell you right now, we will never, ever. No, keep looking at me. Why do you stop looking? Look at me. We will never talk about the Super Bowl commercial.
Never.
It's an obsession that I don't understand.
They were bad this year.
I just watch them and I'm like, they're not even that creative anymore. It's just like, how many famous people can we stuff in 30 seconds?
Oh, let me tell you, a lot.
You had John Hamm and the guy from SNL and Wicked on the same commercial.
See, here we are talking about the commercials.
And I go, what is the compatibility between these two men? Right? Why are they together? Why would I care that they're together? And
I like that you credited Bowen Yang from Wicked instead of SNL.
I credited him from both.
Oh, sorry, I missed that part.
Oh, Josh, we have a problem.
Yeah, what's our problem?
So I had some libations.
I was wondering if this would come up. I've heard about this.
We have to have a discussion. During some drinks I had over the weekend, I agreed to change your schedule on the show.
Please.
I agreed to Alex Sindelar that we would do the odd news at 11:45.
That's when God intended it to be.
But we've agreed that it would be at 1:00.
I'm ready whenever I'm
the odd news at 11:45 now. Whoa! Every single day. 11:45.
You asked, we listen.
Alex Sindelar looked at me in my eyes and said, Matt, I like the show. It's really good, but I eat lunch at 11:47 every day.
Whoa.
And at 11:48,
Oddly
the
specific.
intro to Odd News starts. And I've lost that because of you. And I looked at one of my precious viewers and listeners in the eyes, and I said, you know what? For you, we will change that. For you, I will change Josh Odson's schedule without discussing him. So that's what we're doing. 11:45, we had the Odd News. 1:20, we have Robin Washut. I just gave you all the topics that we're going to talk about on Middays with Matt today. It is going to be a great show. Coming up next, though, talk about a crazy weekend of college basketball here on 1620.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Did you indulge in any college basketball this weekend, Josh? Did you indulge?
Watched a little bit of the Creighton Blue Jays.
Okay. I think that's one of my favorite words.
Indulge?
Indulge.
Okay.
It's just a strong word, you know? It's like it's one of those words where like I could have never heard the word indulge before, and I know exactly what it means. You don't have to you don't have to explain to I'm like, no, I know what that means. I know that means
I got it.
You partake in a big man. I did. It was awesome. Here's a great stats that matter. North Carolina beat Duke. By the way, 3 of the top 5 teams in the AP lost over the weekend. Can you tell me the last time that happened? Sounds like a pretty big deal, right? 3 teams in the top 5 lose in one fell swoop. Whoa, how did that happen?
3 weeks ago.
It happened last year.
Oh, okay.
The same thing, where in 1 week, 3 of the top 5 teams all fell. Now, granted, this one's a little different because the teams who lost last year, Marquette, it was Marquette, Kansas, and I believe Kentucky who lost those games. And those 3 teams all season long were incredibly up and down and inconsistent. I mean, they all kind of went through their trials and tribulations. The 3 teams that lost this week, they're kind of like, oh, no, they are like solid. They are really good. They are teams that, I wouldn't mind, and I actually did put money on one of them to win the national championship. Duke falls to North Carolina in a game where they literally controlled that entire game. I mean, it seemed like that was just going to be a pretty
not the whole game.
Well, I mean, they were stiff-arming North Carolina, and they were keeping them at an arm's distance, and they were playing fine basketball. And then all of a sudden, just at the end, North Carolina was just able to. They were like what does Malkovich say in Rounders? Hanging around, had alligator blood, didn't allow themselves to get blown out in front of their home crowd, stayed in the game, that made a big run at the very end, and then hit a 3 with 1:40 left to tie the game, got a couple good stops, and then Seth Trimble hits a buzzer beater. It's the first time since 2017 that North Carolina has hit a buzzer beater. The player to hit that buzzer beater for North Carolina was Luke May. Yeah, if that last name sounds familiar to you.
Oh.
Because it is familiar to you. Luke May is the older brother of Drake May, who lost yesterday in the Super Bowl and did not play a very good game. Drake May, by the way, can't wait for a whole offseason of, well, he didn't play well in the playoffs. Is he a real playoff quarterback? Can you trust Drake May in the playoffs? That will be our storyline of 2026, by the way.
The worst playoffs any quarterback has ever had.
Literally. Even worse than Rex. I thought I had it bad. Even 4-year-old Matt was like, yeah, this guy's pretty crap.
I don't know, guys.
I don't know. I don't think this guy's the future. My dad probably should have looked at me then and been like, get used to it. I'm telling you right now, if I have a skill in anything, it's evaluating bad quarterback play.
Because you've seen
I've seen so much of it. I can tell you what bad QB play is. Oh, this is a terrible 2-on-1 by France. You got to put that in the back of the net. That is awful. Anyway, we're watching Olympic hockey right now, which begins for the men in 2 days, which will be absolutely incredible. But what I was saying is North Carolina beats Duke, buzzer beater, massive win. St. John's defeats UConn. Well, this UConn team, I mean, they were 22-1 heading into the game. They had won 18 straight games. You can't discredit them in any way, but they had some weird instances this season where probably should have lost to Providence. They probably should have lost to Villanova. They played Providence really close once again. Like it was a UConn team where like you watch them and you're like, don't get me wrong, like Demery's good and Reed is really good and Alex Caravan is, at this point has become a staple of all Big East fans' college basketball experience. But you're like, this is definitely not the team that was dominant a couple of seasons ago. This isn't necessarily the machine or wagon that we know UConn to be in some of their previous performances. St. John's took it to them, man. They physically dominated them. UConn shot over 50% from the field. They turned the ball over 15 times, though. And Rick Pitino has just decided, look, I'm going to get big, strong, athletes, and I'm going to hound you. And we are going to play really, really good defense. And that is going to give us a shot in every single game. And then if we can make our shots, we'll make our shots and we'll win. And that's kind of been his recipe at St. John's. And it worked. It worked beautifully on Friday against UConn. And they controlled that game. They won that game by 81-72. And then you got to talk about Illinois. I know there was some Illinois fans were not very happy with the refereeing at the very end of the game against Michigan State. I'll just say this. I have lost no confidence in Illinois in terms of my belief that they can win the national championship. I think Michigan State, that was a much bigger game for Michigan State than it was for Illinois, because MSU was coming off of, a pretty embarrassing, I don't want to call it embarrassing, but at home to Michigan, right? And Michigan kind of handled them pretty seamlessly. And so it was one of those things where they needed that. They needed a win. They needed a big win. They needed to reestablish themselves as being firmly within the second tier and on the precipice of being in the first tier of teams of college basketball. And they go ahead and, they handle business against Illinois, who I don't think there's been a team recently who has been playing hotter basketball than the Illinois Illini. And so for them to get that win at home, big win for MSU. At the same time, though, Illinois goes on the road to East Lansing, takes on a damn good Michigan State team. Like, that's not a game that you go, oh, damn, why did we lose that one? So, and they had to go all the way to overtime to do it. So I think Illinois is still really good. And MSU reestablishes themselves as one of the better teams in the country, and they have been. And still that win for Nebraska is continuously going to look good. Nebraska plays Purdue tomorrow. That's a very big game. The Purdue Boilermakers have a crazy ass schedule coming up. Like, even after they play, I mean, like, it's just funny to think about, by the way, that like people look at Nebraska and they go, man, like, not only do you have to play the Cornhuskers, but you got to play them at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Damn, like, that's a really tough game. Like, I mean, I'm never going to shy away from that, because it's just, it's just one of those things where it's just crazy to think about, considering where this team and where this program was, 4 years ago, where it's now like people are like a little afraid of playing at PBA because they've won so many big games there. And you can make the argument that the thing that kind of started this whole thing, really, that started this run, was that win in January 2 seasons ago against number 1 Purdue, where we had the first court storming. But so Purdue takes on Nebraska tomorrow at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Then they go on the road to Iowa, who had a good win yesterday against Northwestern. Then they take on Michigan. Then they play Indiana. Then they play Michigan State. And so that's a tough road, man. Like, Nebraska, Iowa, Michigan, Indiana, Michigan State. You're talking about the upper tier, middle tier teams in the Big Ten. And so they played Oregon over the weekend, and people looked at it and said, oh, that might be a look ahead spot for Purdue, because they have to play 3 teams ranked in the top 10, along with 2 quality opponents in Iowa and Indiana. Josh Hodson, it was a look ahead spot, because they almost lost that game.
Oh no!
At Mackey Arena against Oregon. It was not good this year at all. Good development, though, from Purdue. Fletcher Lawyer has not been the player that we thought he would be heading into the season, especially over the last couple of games, and that's kind of why Purdue has struggled over the last couple of games. He had 18 points against Oregon. So for the Boilermakers, they're hoping that can be the spark to get more quality play from a guy that they're going to need it from if they're going to compete for a national championship like they intended to at the beginning of the year. But big game tomorrow. Purdue at Nebraska will be massive for NU to get another quad 1 win opportunity and potentially go far and trying to solidify themselves as a 2 seed, where I've been looking at who Nebraska might play in the NCAA tournament, depending on where their seeding is.
Yeah.
Because I'm a sicko.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to want to be a 2 seed this year.
Okay.
You're going to want to be a 2 seed. I'm going to write it up on the board. A 13 seed or a 14 seed will beat a 3 seed this year in the NCAA tournament. I might go as far as to say I wouldn't be shocked if 2 14s beat 2 3.
Whoa.
Because you have some high quality 14s. You got some 14s that are going to be able, like, whoever comes out of the Big West is going to be a threat, whether it be Irvine or whether it be Hawaii, North Dakota State. They're going to be a threat as a 14 seed. Troy, they've had a good year as a 14 seed out of the Sun Belt. Like, there's some good 14s. There's some. I'll go ahead and confidently say 114 will beat a 3 this season in the NCAA tournament. If I'm a Nebraska basketball fan, I want them to be a 2 seed. They need to be a 2 seed, and beating Purdue tomorrow will go a long way into doing that. Alrighty, we're going to take a break here and talk about the Super Bowl, what occurred yesterday during the big game. At 11:45, we'll have the odd news, and at 1:20, we will have Robin Washut from Husker Online and on. 342-951-1620 is the number. That's the Prairie Flower Casino hotline if you want to call in and talk to us, along with the Equitable Bank inbox. Matt at 1620 The Zone, Josh O at 1620 The Zone. Email us all your thoughts on the Super Bowl for Nebraska basketball, Nebraska football, Creighton basketball, Omaha softball. Hell of a start this season. Over the weekend, Nebraska softball, also great start, splitting 2 games between number 1 Texas. So we'll talk about all of that here on Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone. Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
No football. We're done.
It's over.
The long wait. The long wait all the way until August begins. But for some, baseball's here. I like baseball.
It sounds like it.
I like baseball. I do. I'm just not a honk for it, you know? I don't know. And I think baseball honks are a little much for me sometimes. Like I think baseball honks are sometimes they just come off as like, oh, look at me, I'm so cool because I love a boring sport.
Okay, I disagree with the use of the word boring, but everything else was pretty spot on.
They kind of I take that back. Like I said, I like baseball, and I don't think baseball's boring. I don't want that to be put out there. I don't believe that. But at the same time, I do think that people who love baseball so much are like, oh my God, look at me. I'm so great because I love baseball. I don't know. I just get that vibe.
They love it this week, and they love it for 2 weeks in April.
A lot of people do, yeah.
And then they stop.
And then
they stop loving it.
But there are guys who love baseball like Connor Happer who watch it all year long and will just randomly tweet out about a Wednesday game in June, you know?
Hell yeah.
At like 6:58 because MJ, well, I was about to say MJ Melendez struck out, but MJ Melendez
He'll be
longer
striking out in Queens this year.
Well, whose New York's AAA team is probably more accurate in terms of where he's going to be striking
Syracuse,
out.
I think.
Is it Syracuse? The Syracuse Mets?
Maybe.
I love how creative we get in minor league baseball with the single A teams and the double A teams, where they go, yeah, we're the Biscuits, right? Or we're the Tin Caps, or we are the Smokies. You know, we're these different, you know, type of names, and then you get to AAA, and it's like, yeah, we're just the Iowa Cubs.
We're the Iowa Cubs,
and we're the Syracuse
Mets.
Yeah. You got some Barons. Well, I don't know the triple. I forget the AAA team for the Chicago White Sox. But anyway, football is over, so baseball begins this week. This Friday, UConn
Charlotte Knights
takes on. Okay, I should know that. I should know AAA Charlotte. UConn takes on Nebraska. That game will be on MLB TV at 7:00. So the Huskers starting off on, you know, on national. I don't think. Would you consider national television? It's not prime time. It's national television, MLB Network, so you can watch that. UConn versus Nebraska. Omaha men's baseball begins their season on the road at Arizona State and Tempe, Arizona. And Creighton baseball begins their season in California when they take on St. Mary's. I do want to continue to give a shout out to two of the softball teams here in Nebraska. The Huskers had a pretty good week. Over in San Antonio, Texas to begin the season. They beat UTSA and Washington. So they split the series against Washington. They split the series against Texas. And so, you know, 3-2 isn't the greatest beginning to a season, but at the same time, to beat the number one team in the country in the first week of the year. Hell yeah. So congratulations to Nebraska softball. And then on top of that, Omaha softball, hell of a beginning to the season for them. So they go ahead and have a really good beginning, beat Iowa State, beat UNI. So congratulations, Omaha softball, on a very good start to this year's season for them. All right, let's talk about the big game that happened yesterday. Also, shout out to our YouTube chat. We got the boys in here today. Travis is in there today. Kev's in there today. Jimmy's in there today. Just got a lot of great people in the YouTube chat today. The dark side shots. Now, so you are filing copyright infringement on the Seattle Seahawks, Josh Hudson?
Yes, that's right. I'd like to formally list my intentions to sue the Seattle Seahawks. They call their defense the dark side since the Legion of Boom broke up and everyone hated Russell Wilson and found out what a monster he is.
And Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll definitely added into that as well.
Iowa Western, since the team's inception, has called their defense the dark side.
Yeah.
And won more rings than the Seattle Seahawks.
It's
not a contest.
Hey,
but,
Josh, talk your ish, dude.
But,
talk your ish. Here's the thing: what you got to know about this show now. Your teams are my teams, and my teams are your teams. Okay. Your gripes are my gripes, and my gripes are your gripes.
Bear down.
Okay? We are the dead to us list is really a symbolic showing of our unity in terms of hating the same people. So I want to give you the option here. Do we put the Seattle Seahawks on the dead to us list because they stole the dark side moniker from the Iowa Western Reavers? Do we do it? If you are in tow with that, I'm cool with that. Because Iowa West, you're right. Iowa Western's a dark side. You're not there yet?
I'm not there yet.
I'm not there either. I love the Seattle Seahawks. Not because I bet on them on December 8th at 12:40 at Warhorse Casino. Don't put that out there that I love them because of that. Okay. Don't put that out there because I told everybody that they would win the Super Bowl 2 months ago and everybody called me a madman. I don't love them because of that. I love them because I love people who get doubted and end up becoming successful. I love people who are kind of shoved in a locker and thrown in the dirt and are told that they can't be successful and that they aren't going to accomplish things. And then that person responds and accomplishes those things. And because of that, I first off, like this whole discourse with like Seattle being a forgetful Super Bowl champion and, who cares and what a boring game. It pisses me off so much because that's a you problem, not a Seattle problem. Okay. Seattle is going to.
What are they supposed to do?
Yeah. Well, here's the
not
thing.
Here to
it's because everybody, because everybody, I don't want to say everybody was wrong, but we fall in love with things that the Seahawks aren't, right? Like we fall in love with the sexy offensive coordinator coach, right? We fall in love with the Shanahans and we fall in love with the Ben Johnsons and the Liam Cohens and the Matt LaFleurs. We love talking about them and how they've impacted the game and what they're doing is groundbreaking and on the edge of things we haven't seen before. We love doing that, but we don't do that with defense. And we don't. When Mike McDonald was hired at Seattle, it was very much like a flyover state in terms of like, oh yeah, okay, I just hired the DC from Baltimore. Like nobody was freaking out about it because Mike McDonald's just, we fall in love with offense and we fall in love with these innovative play callers. And like Mike McDonald is an incredibly innovative play caller, but for, I guess, attention's sake, he's on the wrong side of the ball. And we don't give him the credit he deserves. There are people somebody told me not too long ago that they would rather have Kevin Stefanski be their head coach than Mike McDonald be their head coach. That's ridiculous, right? We overlook a guy like Mike McDonald because he doesn't fit the narrative of what we love to talk about, which is offense. He's in terms of attention's sake and talking point's sake, he's on the wrong side of the ball. But in terms of winning football games, he's the first defensive play caller to ever win a Super Bowl. We should be celebrating that guy. We should be talking about that guy amongst the elites. Okay? So that's number one. That's on you if you didn't recognize how great he's been this season. And then secondly, I love the Seattle Seahawks because of Sam Darnold. It cannot be understated how incredible of a journey Sam Darnold has taken. Okay? Gets drafted by the New York Jets. He has the famous seeing ghost,
seeing
moment.
Ghosts.
On top of that, then you have the funny mono thing where he gets mono and then they release that graphic and then he becomes a joke. He gets shipped off to Carolina because the New York Jets had the number 2 overall pick, and they go, they're like, all right, we ruined Sam Darnold's career. Let's go ahead and ruin Zach Wilson's career and bring him into a situation where we have no foundation.
Mission accomplished.
They go to Carolina. He gets cut from Carolina after a great start to the point where he's got to sign with Kyle Shanahan and the San Francisco 49ers to be the backup. Okay, he's got to be the backup at San Francisco for a full season. And then his agent has to run one of the best PR campaigns of like, hey, you should hear what they're saying about my guy. He's doing a really good job being a backup for San Francisco. He's learned under Kyle Shanahan for a whole year. Yeah, you gotta give my guy a shot. You got to give my boy an opportunity. Okay. So he goes from number 2 overall pick to shipped off to a terrible franchise to then cut, to then has to sign with San Francisco for a full season to rehab his image and be the backup on the 49ers. So then Kevin O'Connell talks to his buddy, Kyle Shanahan, and says, okay, we'll give him a flyer. We'll try him out. The year they sign him to be the quarterback in Minnesota, they go, well, we're going to draft J.J. McCarthy. We're going to draft him. We're going to take him because we think he's better. And clearly, part of the reason why Kwesi is no longer the general manager of the Minnesota Vikings was because there was a rift between the opinions on J.J. McCarthy and Sam Darnold.
You see what's going on over there?
Yeah. Do you see?
What?
Because O'Connell clearly wanted.
Is that the same guy that was over here last year?
O'Connell wanted to keep Darnold. And they were like, well, we drafted JJ. He's our first round pick. Be a bad look if we took this guy and then didn't play him.
Be a great look if he sucked and we were the first team to throw him on the curb or something.
Sam Darnold was great with Minnesota in the one season he played. Led them to the playoffs. Minnesota was playing really good football. He did everything they wanted him to do.
14 wins.
And what did they go? What did they do? They go, nah, we're good. We're going to pick the other guy. We're going to take him. This guy, this Sam Darnold cat
we invested in this guy. We gotta see that through.
Sam Darnold has been doubted and thrown to the wolves so many times in his career. And the fact that he comes all the way back to Seattle, a place that we would never thought he would end up winning a Super Bowl at. The fact that he goes to that team who believed in him, who invested in him, and wins a Super Bowl, it's one of the best perseverance stories I've ever heard in sports.
So I don't think it matters.
Okay.
But I would like to just have the conversation. Is he a good quarterback, or did he kind of ride the defense a lot like Trent Dilfer did? He's somewhere in between, obviously, but
How old is he?
I can get you an answer to that.
How old is he?
28.
TBD.
I would have guessed younger. Okay.
TBD. To be determined. Because he played great in the NFC Championship game. Look, I mean, it's not like he had a great performance yesterday. Okay. I mean, he didn't.
He did not.
But
I watched it.
He didn't need to because that defense is insane.
That's right.
He's definitely better than, I would say. Okay, if you wanted me to compare to him to past Super Bowl quarterbacks, I would say Flacco.
Okay,
I think he's the closest to Flacco we've had.
Okay,
because Joe is not a Hall of Famer, and
we still ask if Joe Flacco is elite.
And Joe was never really tier one, in terms of quarterback.
I think that's actually a pretty good comp. The more I sit with it,
and he's and Joe is really good, and we all like Flacco, but we understand, he's because Dilfer was not good. Flacco was good, and Flacco had a great playoff run, and Sam Darnold, all things considered, had a good playoff run. Once again, didn't play his best in the Super Bowl. Granted, I think that New England defense
didn't have to, didn't put his team in a mistake.
Well, I think New England's game plan heading into it was, we are going to try and just cause as much chaos as possible on the defensive end and try and make Darnold make mistakes and make his life uncomfortable. They sent a ton of pressure.
A good plan.
They sent a ton of pressure the entire game. They were jumping routes very early on. They were hunting turnovers. They were hunting chaos. I think their game plan was, we are going to try and make this the worst day of Sam Darnold's life. And then Clint Kubiak was like, okay, we'll run the ball. and they ran the ball, and that's why they ended up winning that game. And on top of that, too, they ended up winning the game because of their defense, because their defense is absolutely
They
incredible.
dared Seattle to be boring, and Seattle said,
okay, no problem. And by the way, too, Seattle said, we're going to fight fire with fire, right? You're going to blitz the quarterback. You're going to be super aggressive in condensed formations. You're going to send pressure. All right, we'll do the same. And that offensive line for Seattle. Once again, we've had back-to-back Super Bowls where it really just comes down to the fact that the front seven of one team dominated the offensive line of the other team. And that's kind of the reason why the teams won, right? Philadelphia did that with Kansas City last year. Seattle did it yesterday against New England. But yeah, I would say if you want the closest comparison to what is Sam Darnold in terms of Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, he's probably the closest we've had to Flacco. He's not right now. Now, the reason I said TBD is that hypothetically, like Sam Darnold could have, if he's got 8 more seasons and another Super Bowl, right? If he goes 8 more seasons with this production and wins another Super Bowl, we could have some conversations I don't think we'd ever would have dared to have when he was playing in New York. I don't want it put out there that I'm saying that Sam Darnold is going to be a Hall of Famer or anything. I think that might be jumping the shark after he's had 2 good seasons. But still, he's got time. He's got time to make a legacy, right? And yesterday was a very big moment for him. Big moment, too, for Kenneth Walker. I said all the way back in November on a podcast with Josh Peterson, I'm sure I'll make sure to do my victory lap on the crossover, that I was like, look, if the Seattle Seahawks had a run game, they would be the best team undoubtedly be the best team in the NFL. This is all the way back in November before I pulled the trigger on their future. Kenneth Walker's final 6 games this season, 561 rushing yards, 210 receiving yards. He had 5 rushing touchdowns, and he was a Super Bowl MVP. He's supposed to be a free agent in March. So that will be a pretty big what to watch for in terms of where does Kenneth Walker go. Also, too, you got to think, Charbonnet injury happens, and then he ends up having a bigger role. How does the Charbonnet injury of the Seattle, is he going to recover from that? Everything like that. I think there will be a lot of factors played into Kenneth Walker's resigning. But I love it when players get paid, and that guy performed in the biggest moments and deserves to get paid. Had a great playoff run, and is part of the reason why the Seattle Seahawks, not part of the reason, a big reason why the Seattle Seahawks ended up winning the Super Bowl. So we'll continue to talk about the Super Bowl and other aspects of the Super Bowl as we continue on. But I'm just so happy for Darnold, man. So happy for him. That's a dude that a lot of people took their jabs and took their shots on. And I think a lot of people in this industry hate being wrong and hate being incorrect. So many people are wrong about that guy.
Now here's
many. And that's part of the reason why we all look as oh, they're not a memorable Super Bowl winning team, or they're going to be a forgetful team. Well, it's because no one wants to admit the fact that they were dead wrong on this guy, and that it wasn't necessarily all him and his ability. It was because he wasn't put in the right situation to succeed. And I hope that NFL franchises look at a guy like Sam Darnold and say, wow, what a talent, what a quarterback. That guy won a Super Bowl. Why did it not work out for him in the 2 other spots? Because they did not have the foundation and groundwork to take in a top quarterback. Franchises fail quarterbacks more than quarterbacks fail franchises, okay? And so I hope for NFL team's sake and prospects' sake, before you go ahead, they look at Sam Darnold and they say to themselves, hey, let's go ahead and make sure we have an infrastructure here before we take a very talented quarterback very high in this draft and put him in a situation where he won't succeed. Because it didn't happen once. It happened twice with Sam Darnold. And he went ahead and he went to San Francisco, and they had the foundation of great coaching that gave him his confidence back. And then they sent him off to Minnesota. And he went, signed with Minnesota. And what did Minnesota have? They had a great offensive head coach, and they had a lot of weapons for him to work with. And now you go ahead and he goes to Seattle with another great offensive coach in Clint Kubiak, who's going to be the Vegas Raiders head coach. And he had great wide receivers around him and a really good run game at the end of the year. And he ended up winning a Super Bowl. Okay. That's what I hope we all take away from this Super Bowl win from Sam Darnold, where we have plenty of prospects and talents that can be great and can win big games, but yet they're failed by the people who make decisions around them. Seattle did not fail Sam Darnold, so Sam Darnold did not fail them.
But I also think you're going to see the inverse of that happen, where organizations are going to, well, maybe we take our chance on this guy who is clearly a bust.
Great point, Josh.
Because he's
great
the
point.
next Sam Darnold. kind of extending some of these careers that don't need to be extended.
And it's one of those things too where I think teams after that Tua Tagovailoa contract, and the Trevor Lawrence contract and the Jordan Love contract are a little nervous to back up the pickup truck and put their team in cap hell by giving a guy $35 or $55 million, right?
Yeah, that's a way you could combat that.
Like, look at probably the two best contracts right now in all of football are Sam Darnold, $30 million a year, and Baker Mayfield, $30 million a year. Because you have two high-quality quarterbacks that can take you to the playoffs and have you be competitive year in and year out, and you're paying them $25 million less than guys that they're either better than or right next to in terms of skill. So I think that you're right, Josh. I think you'll see some teams that'll be more willing to take flyers and be like, hey, we'll go ahead, we'll pay you instead of $60 million or $55 million on a quarterback we think might be good. Yeah, no, okay, we'll take a flyer on you. We'll see what happens. Mike in the YouTube chat, great comment from Mike. Mike goes, Mac Jones out here waiting for an opportunity. Why? Seriously.
He's just sitting on that Niners bench.
This is a great point from Mike. You got to think that Mac Jones loved what he saw yesterday from Sam Darnold in terms of getting another opportunity to be a starting quarterback because he's sitting on his couch as the backup at San Francisco, right? After playing well in a couple of games for San Francisco, thinking, why can't I follow in the footsteps of a former San Francisco backup quarterback and end up leading a team, signing a decent contract and leading a team to playoff victories and eventually maybe even a Super Bowl? Mike's spot on because Mac Jones was also, like Sam Darnold, a first-round pick who did not succeed in his first spot.
Someone's going to sign J.J. McCarthy and go, hey, we got ourselves the next Sam Darnold.
Yeah, no, that guy's just bad. Okay,
I would agree.
Sorry, I don't mean to be mean here. There's levels to these things. That guy's just ass. He's not good.
And made of glass.
Get the graphic rolling. Coming up next, we talk about somebody and someone and a team who's the opposite of that, who picked up a big win in Piscataway over the weekend. Let's talk about the Nebraska basketball team in 11:45, as God intended it to be. Whoa. Josh Odson tells us the odd news here on Middays with Matt.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone. Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
So they revealed the Super Bowl 61 logo. Super Bowl LXI. I just had a dumb joke in my head. It's almost like Alex Rosenham. No.
Yeah, she's supposed with an eye.
I know. She's weird. Apparently, she might actually be dating Tom Brady, which, kudos to the former New England Patriots dynasty that loves having 20-plus years age gaps with their new spouses, or couples, rather.
Got to be careful with that stuff.
Yes. Yes, you do. For the conspiracy theorists out there, though, so have you seen this? It's like people believe
I have seen this.
that the colors of the logo determine who is going to be at the Super Bowl. And so we've had this kind of run of like, oh, it's blue and it's red. Oh, it's New England versus the Rams. Oh, it's orange and blue. Oh, it's the Bengals versus the Rams again. So this logo is like teal and orange.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what that means, Josh Odds?
I've heard that the Dolphins will play the Bears in the Super Bowl.
No. I'll give you one better.
Okay.
The Jaguars play the Bears in the Super Bowl.
That would make more sense.
How about that? I don't know, man. That doesn't sound too far-fetched to me. Doesn't sound too far-fetched to me, especially if Jacksonville can continue to play defense the way they were at the end of the year, and if Trevor Lawrence can take another jump after he took one with first-year head coach Liam Cohen. I don't know, man. Will Matty Mack be at SoFi Stadium next year? Probably not.
I don't know if I want you to have the Bears in the Super Bowl.
Whoa.
I mean, I want you to thrive and I want you to succeed. But
Why do you say that?
I don't know.
Why do you say that?
I don't know if the audience can handle it.
No. What do you? Okay. First off, the audience can definitely handle it. Okay. They've handled much bigger and much worse. Why are you preying on my downfall? I just Coach Cartered us and told us that we rise as a team, we fall as a team. If one of us succeeds, we both succeed. Why are you doing this?
You're right. That was wrong of me.
That was so wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That was so rude of you.
I'd like to retract my previous statement.
I appreciate you retracting that.
You don't get that often on a sports radio show like this.
A lot of what you get here on Middays with Matt, you really don't get too
anywhere
often on
else.
Sports radio. Hey, Omaha men's basketball. We talked about North Dakota State being a potential 14 seed in the NCAA tournament, and how I've officially wrote on the board, I believe a 14 seed will be a 3 seed in the NCAA men's tournament this year. They played Omaha men's basketball. It was a really good end to the month of January for the Mavericks. They won 3 games in a row. Paul Jobay has been awesome for them ever since he started playing for the Mavs. I believe his first game was on December 20th. Tough 3-game stretch, man. North Dakota State, both on the road. They now have the big game on Thursday against St. Thomas. North Dakota State, and St. Thomas all on the top of the part of the Summit League standings right now. So it was really good for Omaha to get some momentum heading into this really tough stretch, man. That North Dakota game. It's one that you're going to kind of be kicking yourself about that one for a while. But it was a tough game against North Dakota State over the weekend. They were down, I think, 13 points. Yeah, they were down 13 points after the first half, and then North Dakota State kind of stiff-armed them to the end. They'll go ahead and they'll play St. Thomas this Thursday in a big one. That game will be at Baxter Arena. All righty, let's talk about Nebraska men's basketball. We've officially established Omaha softball. Shout out Coach Hurd as a wagon. Nebraska basketball. I mean, I don't know why it had to take me this long to officially declare this, but officially after what they did to Rutgers on Sunday, wagon. It's what your graphic says, Josh Hodson. What your graphic is perfect. Consistently consistent. It is a mark of a great team because they are a great team. I will not back down. I will not allow any slander or anybody to say they are a great team. They roll out of bed. They put one foot in front of the other. They get on the plane, they go on the road, and they just beat teams. And they go, yeah, we're better than you. We're going to play our defensive system because we know it like the back of our hand. We're going to shut off the baseline. We're going to double team in the post. We're going to rotate off of guys. We're going to switch here. We're not going to switch there. They play hard. Their leading defensive rebound is a 5'11" guard. Okay. They go ahead and they go and play offense, and they have guys who are sharpshooters like Price Sanford. And then they have Rink Mask too. Yeah, his 3-point shot has not been good. He only shot 1 of 4, from the 3. But do you know what Rink said? He said, everyone's been talking about how I have it, I need to step up and I need to play better. And everybody's been talking about, even before I got sick, I wasn't playing well. He had 26 points and 10 of his shots were from 2. I mean, he just operated so well in the post, got to the basket, had a couple baby hooks. We were full masking in Piscataway. I mean, it was great stuff. And DeMarcus Lawrence, once again, 12 points. Sam Hoiberg hit 3 threes. Like, this team, it's just like every game, you know what they're going to get. And we've seen so many times this season in the Big Ten, just teams have letdowns. Just teams, kind of, they go out there and they just aren't themselves and they don't play well. Look what happened to Purdue against Oregon. Right? That's the one thing here, Josh Hodson. It's not just that Nebraska basketball hasn't dropped a bad game to a bad team in the Big Ten. It's the fact that they really haven't had a scare. Like the fact that we can't hearken back to that game made me really nervous because we know what this team looks like when they can't make shots. They haven't had that. They haven't had that
almost
moment.
Lost to so-and-so.
They really haven't. They kicked the crap out of Washington. They kicked the crap out of Oregon. Do you know what you could point to? They go, well, the first half against Northwestern wasn't all that great. Don't matter. Their second half, they dominated. Kicked the crap out of them. They go ahead and, Minnesota, that first half scared you, right? What happened in the second half? Wagon. Blew them out. By the way, terrible loss yesterday for Minnesota. Nico's got to figure it out, man. I think Nico Medved's a good coach, but they're losing too many games. A weird one yesterday. You lose to Maryland, who a couple of days ago was the lowest ranked team in the net. Ugh, what are you doing? But still, this Nebraska basketball team, man, it's just incredible to watch. They know who they are, they know what they have to do. They're well coached. They game plan really well. They step out into the court, and you just can tell with it. It's awesome, and it's a mark of a great team when you can tell how strong their culture is just by how they play. You can tell that all those guys step out there. They're old. They played a ton of basketball. They're very confident within themselves, and they're confident in each other. And there's a standard. There's just a clear standard to what they have to do and what they live up to. And they live up to it just every game. And, it was a weird last kind of 9-10 minutes in that game, but still, it did not matter. It did not matter. They just handled business, picked up a 12-point victory, move on. It's incredible just how simple it is for this team to just go, all right, yeah, what do we have to do today? We gotta fly to Piscataway, and we gotta play an 11 a.m. tip. Okay, no big deal. We'll just go and pass the ball down here, move it over there. Oh, open 3-pointer. Let's just make that simple. We're done for the day. We're 22-2. I mean, it's just that. It's that.
When you put it like that, it sounds really easy.
Yeah, it does. We're just 21-2. That's just how they are, man. It's wild. It's just wild where it's just, and you see just other teams across the country just have letdowns and weird games, and UConn going into overtime, and Vanderbilt is ranked 15th in the country. They lost to Oklahoma, who hadn't won a game since January 3rd. Oklahoma scored 92 points against Vanderbilt and beat them. You don't see Nebraska having those letdowns. You just see Nebraska go ahead and their 2 losses this season came to 2 teams that are in the top 8 in terms of national championship odds. Now, granted, if we want to talk in terms of them winning the national championship, yeah, you got to beat those teams. But if we just want to talk in terms of what they are, they've already shown to you game in and game out. They're just great. They're just great. They're just great. They're just a great team.
guess the closest thing you could say is that Ohio State game on the road, that was a tough one. That was all the way back January 5th. I mean, it's remarkable what this team has done. And I don't want to, I'm not trying to tell you that because they beat Rutgers, that they're going to make the Final Four. But what I am telling you is that it's just quite remarkable in terms of, hey, we're going to go ahead and we're going to handle business. We know what we have to do, and we know that we have to go and execute it, and they go out and they execute it. And I think it speaks. I mean, there's just it doesn't just speak to the players, right? You see some good teams, and you're like, well, they just recruited well, or oh, they spent a lot of money, or oh, they just have more talented players. Like I look at Nebraska and I go, no, they're doing everything right. Like they're doing the evaluation part right, they're doing the GMing part right, they're doing the development part right, they're doing the preparation part right, they're doing the in-game coaching part right. Like they are clicking on every single cylinder. I can't look to you and really tell you anything that they're truly lacking from a operational perspective. Okay. Now, if you want to say, well, they don't have a Cam Boozer and they don't have a Darren Peterson and they don't have that, big superstar. Man, very few teams do. I mean, very, very few teams have the reputation and prestige, and on top of that, nowadays, money to go ahead and get those type of players, right? We're talking about a handful of teams that can do that. I mean, we're really just talking about the Kansas, Kentucky's, North Carolina, Dukes, and BYU's that seemingly can just be like, oh yeah, well, we're going to do that consistently year in and year out. No, Nebraska basketball, for what they have and how they operate, they're clicking, man. They're clicking. And it's that, there are there's the Nebraska fan base, and then there are subsections of the Nebraska fan base, and there are, clearly people who love some sports more than others. And there's that conglomerate of people who are diehard Nebraska fans. Nebraska basketball is their life. That's what they're about. I'm so happy for those people who have lived and died with disappointment after disappointment. And it's one of those things where, yeah, I know some people, and I even brought up some 14 people are upset or unconsciously scared of like, oh my God, what if they lose in the first round? What if they're a 2 seed and they lose to a 15? Oh my God, that's what's going to happen. Like people are very weary of the doom and gloom. I'll just say this. Nebraska basketball has given you no reason thus far to think that will happen. They've just played such a consistently good brand of basketball consistently, game in and game out. And it's because they're great. And you don't get to 21-2, especially in this conference, without being great. All righty, coming up, the odd news at 11:45 with our guy, Josh Odson, on Middays with Matt.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
Alrighty. You better be listening, Sindelar, because we've completely changed the structure of this show in order to please the longtime listeners of the Connor Happer Show that we have now inherited here on Middays with Matt. The odd news, like the Lord intended, at 11:45 with Josh Odson. Let's go, Josh. Let's do it.
Normally we end our day in Florida, but we're going to start the day in Florida.
Ooh, okay. All right.
We go to Largo, a place I've been and can attest to, yes, this definitely happened. A man was arrested early Tuesday morning after walking out of a bar tab at a local restaurant. Benjamin Raquel reportedly ordered food and drinks at the Largo Whiskey Wings on Sunday night, totaling $64.18.
Okay.
Before walking out after telling employees he didn't have the money to pay. He provided debit and credit cards as security, which, according to a police affidavit, did not have any money on them.
Oh, literally.
Police say the 23-year-old came back to the restaurant the next night to retrieve a phone charger that he had forgotten there. That's when police were called and the man was arrested.
So they let him get away with it then, right?
Yeah, a man walks out. You're not going to, theoretically, you're not going to tackle him on the sidewalk and hold him there.
So first off, just all-time scumbag move, by the way. To knowingly. Now, I do respect this. I do kind of respect the fact that he had no money in the accounts. You know what I'm saying?
Here, take my cards. You can have them.
Yeah,
I put them up as collateral.
I kind of do respect the fact that he wasn't lying. He's like, oh, I don't have any money, right?
Yeah.
Like if he had the money and he just refused to pay, that's even more scummier. So I guess I'm like, the fact that he didn't have any money is a bonus for him, maybe, but still a scumbag move.
Yes.
To go in and knowingly know that you don't have the funds to pay for it and then make people work. Then let's talk about the $64 part of this tab. $64 for just yourself?
Wings are expensive.
No, come on. Like, if it's wings and whiskey, if that's the place, then I'm getting a whiskey and I'm getting 10 wings. So what? That should total to about 27, maybe 24 to 20, including tip.
Okay.
27, 28, including tip. To go 64, I mean, you had to have gotten multiple whiskeys, had an appetizer, probably, or you got premium whiskey. Like $64 is a lot. And then
maybe you knew you were going to dine and dash and you were like, hey, baby, let me buy you a drink.
Well, here's the thing. So number one, he's a scumbag for doing it. Number two, $64 singularly is a lot. So clearly he was like, I'm going to indulge in this. And then third, he got away with it. Why go back for the charger? That's your collateral. That's your punishment.
Didn't have any money for a new one.
That's a good point.
Post Miranda rights, the man reportedly told officers he had a Cash App debit card, which he did not provide to the restaurant.
Okay. Please tell me there was no money on the Cash App debit card.
The affidavit does not say if it had money on it to pay for the food.
That's the funny part of this. If the guy just actually had zero money,
I'm just
like,
poor.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Alrighty. What's the next story?
We go to Webster Groves, Missouri. I don't really know where that is in the grand scheme of things, but not important to the story. An unbelievable scene broke out as a little boy got stuck in a claw machine.
What?
Happened Saturday night at the Veta Sports Soccer Dome. According to 2-year-old Cooper King's family, the little guy got himself into trouble while they were watching his older brother play soccer. Sounds like bad parenting ahead, but we press on.
Seriously.
Cooper's mother said she looked away for 15 seconds, then heard someone shout, "Cooper!" and point towards the claw machine. She said her boy was stuck in the machine for about 20 minutes, but did not seem fazed. Police and firefighters showed up.
Oh
and
my God.
Eventually, they found someone with a key and got young Cooper out of the claw machine.
Okay. Negligent parenting. Negligent.
Yeah.
That is just what this is. This is just bad. How old was Coop?
2.
What are you doing?
You got to watch a 2-year-old
Yes,
all the,
you do.
all the time.
All the time.
Mhm.
They don't have a brain.
Well, yeah, you're basically right.
I mean, I'm there. They don't know what they're doing, right? He just thought that was a crawl space. That's what he thought. How do you leave? By the way, too, BS from the mom saying I looked away for 15 seconds.
It was probably 15 minutes.
It was probably 15.
Yeah,
which also
I agree with you on that.
That is a whole. She's just trying to save face there. Be like, oh, I looked away. By the way, you got to think it would take longer than 15 seconds to really get yourself. By the way, how do you get yourself stuck inside the claw machine?
They make these claw machines now that they give away big prizes, so they have openings,
Doors,
big enough to get that big prize out.
As 2-year-olds go, the guy's an idiot.
Yeah. You got to figure you let the kid go with here, have a ball on your way.
By the way,
right?
also to the saving face sentence there with he didn't react to them getting him out of the claw machine, so they're trying to make him look all tough,
Mm-hmm.
All righty, what's our next story?
We end the odd news today in Wisconsin.
Oh, I love this.
Where you just love a story from Wisconsin.
I can't stand Wisconsin.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's funny.
Then,
yeah.
Then
no.
yes, you will love.
I
this
will
story.
love. I love making fun of people from Wisconsin.
Okay,
it's one of my favorite pastimes. Continue.
A Wisconsin woman is in a bit of a stinky situation.
Well, aren't they always?
After drones allegedly caught her in the act of defecating in a city park. Enjoy your lunch, Alex. According to a release, multiple reports were made to a local police department from residents using the park who found human feces and used toilet paper in the area.
Disgusting.
The department set up trail cameras and was able to establish a pattern of someone who was defecating in the park during the early morning hours. After the pattern was established, a drone operator used a drone on Thursday morning to record the suspected person in the act.
Oh, my God.
Police made contact with and cited the 46-year-old woman for indecent conduct.
Much like the Green Bay Packers, just crapping everywhere. just in the wrong spots at the wrong times, just crapping your pants. A tradition unlike any other for Wisconsinites, if you will. Was she drunk too? That's probably.
I don't have a lot of details. I was wondering if she had a home to do this in. I don't have any details.
Clearly she didn't.
Yeah.
Clearly she didn't.
I don't know about that.
I was wondering if she had any ill will toward the park or the park operator, or maybe it was in a school district and she got fired from the school district, so she took a crap in the park.
Was this a revenge pooping?
Yes. See, here's the thing. Pooping just to poop, disgusting, right? Revenge pooping, I can get down for. I can get down with a couple revenge poop stories.
It's bold.
Yeah.
Given the right set of circumstances, you might be able to sell me on it.
Do you have your favorite revenge poop story?
Well, no, I don't.
The Help is one of my favorite ones.
Oh, okay, sure.
That's a great one, where she took a crap in the chocolate cake.
Many people letting us know in various forms of communication that sometimes people who run long distances find themselves needing
to
diapers. Do this. That's
called diapers.
This occurred in the early morning hours, so that was a follow-up question I had as well.
Was she on a run?
I've
done that before. I've taken a poop in a stranger's house because I was running and I knocked on the door.
I can't believe they let you in.
I was like, "Hi, I'm a runner. I really need to go to the bathroom." And they were like, "No problem." I'm like, "Great."
No problem.
They were used to it at that point,
They were used to it?
I don't know.
Look,
okay.
You can come into my home if you have to do a number one. Okay.
Kenneth with an all-time comment runs on the run with a new podcast with Josh Peterson.
Coming soon to I-80 Club.
Coming soon. Indeed. Josh Hodson. Great job today.
We did it.
Great job. That was a good one. That was a good one. I hope Sindelar is enjoying his crap sandwich. You know what? That's what we should do now on the odd news, because Alex
forced us to do, which by the way, he didn't have to, but because we're now doing it at 11:45 for Alex Sindelar, here's what we have to do. We have to come up with the most disgusting, odd news stories to upset his appetite.
Things that'll make you lose your
Talk
lunch.
about revenge pooping. This is our plot now. We lose your lunch odd newses. We'll workshop that. We'll
Interesting wrinkle to the bit.
We'll have Nathan call in. We can with the itty bitty bit committee. We can kind of hammer that out and make sure. But we're now adding layers to layers upon layers upon layers, much like the Creighton basketball men's season. We will talk about that quickly here coming up next on 1620 The Zone, along with a couple more thoughts from the Super Bowl after the Seattle Seahawks defeat the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 60 and North Dakota State, probably biggest news in college, in my opinion, them going to the FBS. What does this mean for the future of FCS teams and the future for FCS just as a whole? We will talk about that next. It's a midday here on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone. Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
We got some Wisconsin people who are now mad.
Oh, look what you did.
They're coming after me, and probably rightfully so. I don't blame them. If I was from Wisconsin and I was listening to me, I would be mad. Somebody called me. Do you know what the meaning fib is?
Fib?
Yeah.
I do not. I'm sorry.
Flippin' Illinois, and then the B word that constitutes.
Okay.
You know, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I could say that last word. I don't know, but anyway,
I think we got it without saying.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which I haven't been called a fib in forever. Kind of feels good. Dead to us, Wisconsin.
Whoa.
The entire state of Wisconsin.
The whole state.
The whole state. Dead to us.
Okay.
Dead to us. Done. Mark it down. Mark it down. Let's go to the text line. Alex in Lincoln goes,
Hi, Alex.
bring the Darnold convo back to the Huskers. Somehow we should have known the QB situation at Nebraska for Rule with his time with Darnold. Yes. People, I wasn't going to, it's an interesting conversation to have about Matt Rule in terms of like, we haven't really taken into consideration his time in the NFL. Like, I don't think it's something that people have really held against him.
We tell ourselves it's vastly different.
It's very different. And, it doesn't affect, what he's going to do in college and all those things. And I still believe that, right? Like, and also too, I think at this point in the Matt Rule era, I'm way more focused on Matt Rule in Nebraska than anything he really did in Baylor, Temple, or Carolina, Like, he's been the Nebraska football head coach for so long that I just don't think his past matters anymore. And it's just more so to do with, what are you doing now? And what are your steps? But if you do go ahead and look, at his time in Carolina, the and you want to relate it back to the quarterback position in Nebraska, right? Like, in the 3 years that Matt Rule has been here at Nebraska, they haven't really, you can't fully tell me they figured out the quarterback situation. Right? I mean, it was awful in 2023. In 2024, it was better, but it still wasn't great. It still wasn't like, that wasn't a strength. I would not say a strength of the 2024 team was the quarterback play. I think Dylan was fine in 2024. And then in 2025, that was, at times it was good, and at times it really wasn't, right? Like, it was inconsistent in 2025. Against Maryland, wow, right? I mean, you're like, damn. Against Northwestern, he had some throws, you were like, oh, that's incredible. But then you look at, and against Michigan, you're like, my God, looked really good against Michigan. But then that Minnesota game, like, meh, kind of I know he got hurt in that USC game, but the lead up into that USC game, not the best. The sacks were ridiculous. He played well at the end, but for a lot of that Michigan State game, he didn't play that well. So it's one of those things where it's like you look at the quarterback position under Matt Rule at Nebraska. It hasn't been the biggest issue, hasn't been the biggest problem, but it certainly hasn't been the strength of the team, and they've put a lot of time and a lot of resources into that position. And I don't think you've gotten enough juice out of what you've kind of put in to that QB position, right? In terms of getting a 5-star quarterback, paying that 5-star quarterback a lot of money, bringing in Dana Holgorsen, paying him a lot of money to help develop that 5-star quarterback, bringing in Glenn Thomas from the NFL, then investing a lot in the recruitments of TJ Lateef, investing a ton in the recruitment of Trey Taylor. Like, now you paid plenty of money to bring in Jeff Sims to be your quarterback. Now you've paid Anthony Calandri to be your quarterback. Like, they haven't gotten enough out of the QB position for how focused and targeted they've been on it, right? Go and look back now. Let's bring this full circle
to the NFL. What in the NFL did Matt Rule prove to you that he would be good at evaluating, paying, and developing a quarterback? And maybe that was something that we shouldn't have overlooked, because 2 quarterbacks that Matt Rule had start for him at Carolina have gone to other teams and have had an extraordinary amount of success. Okay? Baker Mayfield, brought into Carolina, had to leave, was cut actually after Rule was fired. Now made a ton of money in Tampa Bay, has become a fan favorite in the NFL, and is playing leagues above what he was playing at North Carolina in Carolina. Sam Darnold, brought in, traded for, brought in, won his first 3 games. We're like, oh my God, they figured it out. Darnold's back, baby. This is what we thought he'd be. And then it turned out being fool's gold, and it was terrible. And then he had to go and become the backup quarterback at San Francisco. Okay? So it's one of those things where it's like, I'm not going to fully play into the, well, he wasn't good in the NFL, and college football has become a lot more like the NFL. So is that bad for Nebraska football? I think there are pieces to that argument, but I don't think it's a 1-to-1 deal. But I do think that you can go back and be like, do you fully trust Matt Rule in evaluating, developing, and properly investing into quarterbacks? Because in the last 7 years, his track record has not been good. It's not been good. It's an interesting conversation to have, because a lot of people are excited about Anthony Colandrea. I will raise my hand. I am excited about Anthony Colandrea. I'm very excited about what Anthony Colandrea can do, because he is a dynamic playmaker. Nebraska football lacks players on the offensive end that you put the ball in your hand, you put the ball in their hands, and something special can happen. Nebraska football lacks players on the offensive end where when they hold the ball, there's a buzz in the crowd because you don't know what's going to happen, right? They kind of lack a player where if you give them an opportunity, they can go and they can make a ton from it. They can just on their own, just hit the head on the goalpost, juke out a couple of guys, be an incredibly exciting and dynamic playmaker. They lack those guys. I'm excited about Colandrea because he is one of those dudes. Anthony Colandrea is one of those players that he proved it at UNLV that you put the ball in his hands and he can make anything out of anything. He can make nothing out of something and something out of nothing. I mean, he's one of those guys where it's like, okay, now, are there going to be some back-breaking interceptions? Yes, there will be. But there are also going to be some plays where you're like, holy crap, I love this guy. I like the chutzpah he has. I like his attitude. I like his conviction. I like how he plays. And he's a good football player. I say all of this in the lead up to, though, what has Matt Rule proven over the last couple of years to make you think that, hey, they're going to knock this one out of the park and Colandrea is going to take another step and be an all Big Ten conference type caliber player that is going to outperform expectations? He hasn't. He hasn't done anything the past recently in this lead up, whether it's time at Nebraska and it's time at Carolina, to make you think that. So you got to put that a little bit in perspective. You know, I'm excited about Anthony Colandrea. But I do think it's a little concerning that you have 3 quarterbacks who showed that they were better when they weren't on Matt Rule's teams. Sam Darnold showed that he was better when he wasn't on a Matt Rule team. Baker Mayfield has showed that he's better than he was on a Matt Rule team. And you know this too, Josh Hodson? Do you know who showed that they were better when they weren't on a Matt Rule team? Jeff Sims, when he played at the end of the year against Arizona State for Arizona State, had his jersey retired in the college football, like his jersey from a game got retired, got hung up at the College Football Hall of Fame Museum. It's just something to think about. I'm excited about Colandrea. I think he's going to make some big plays. I think he's going to be very dynamic. I think it was a good acquisition from Nebraska right? I think that the honestly, Minchie being like, no, I'm going to Kentucky. I think it worked out for Nebraska. I would rather have Calandria than have Minchie. Ooh. I would. At the same time, though, I have a little bit of trepidation because you got to look at his past, and his past over the last 7 years has shown, or sorry, 6 years has shown when it comes to the quarterback situation, whether it be in the NFL or whether it be in college, that position just does not live up to the billing. It hasn't lived up to the expectations. It hasn't lived up to the investment. They invested in Mayfield. They invested in Darnold with trading picks for him. They invested a lot of money in Dylan Raiola. They paid Jeff Sims to be here, and they didn't work out. And it's a growing list, Josh Hodson, of quarterbacks who ended up playing better when they weren't being coached by Matt Rule. There's 3 of them, and what's going to happen when Dylan ends up being the starting quarterback for Oregon after a season? 4 is a lot. One might be, one's a coincidence. 2 is you see it coming. 3 is a scientific discovery. 4 is a habit. Okay.
Yikes.
Yeah. So this whole segment it wasn't even planned, but has really just been, I think Anthony Calandria is going to be a good player. I think Anthony Calandria is going to make some great plays, but look at the history of what Matt Rule has done at that quarterback position. You are not wrong to be a little bit more nervous than usual. And you are not wrong to have a little bit of trepidation to think that he's going to take another step, because it hasn't happened across multiple levels of football. We'll go to the Prairie Flower Casino hotline. 402-951-1620 is the number. Nate is calling in. He wants to talk about trusting Matt Rule. Nate, how you doing today, my man?
How you doing, man? I'm good.
Doing great.
You kind of let a great little Pandora's box open here, and I want to explore. Do I trust Matt Rule?
Yeah.
So, let's just, cards up on the table because we're all fam bam. I trust Matt Rule to run a program. Matt is a phenomenal culture guy. Anybody that thinks Matt Rule has not done a complete 180 in the culture is blind. Yeah. He's an A+ culture guy, phenomenal character. He is a return to the Osborne, I'm building young men kind of guy. I love that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think I trust him to run the business side of the house. I think both his NFL time and his time down in Texas football made him clearly understand the numbers game. And I think Trev probably saw that because Trev is a numbers guy. And that's really probably what got Matt the job. He probably wasn't the best coach available, but he's probably the best. If I'm looking to win in the future, Matt Rule, I get that.
Sure.
So I'll give him an A+ for that. He is a terrible, terrible, terrible game coach. For everything we've talked about, the what do you call it? The penalties, the kind of some of the questionable,
the timeouts,
timeout management. I mean, it's not good. It always seems like the other team schemes us in the second half, but we never scheme them at halftime. I think it's a solid F in in-game management, maybe D if we want to be real gracious. If we're talking about development, name one player that has actually gotten better, that went from the transfer portal and came here and lit it on fire. Dane Key is a good example. Dane Key is a good player. He came as a good player.
Yeah.
Dane Key did not become a great player, but he should have became a great player.
Yeah. Nair. What happened to Banks and Nair, right?
Yeah. It's kind of, it's beginning, the defensive lineman, the 5-star, Williams and
Winery. Well, he's gotten a little bit better, but still he's not the dynamic player. I get your point when you're making
not. And here's the thing. It's across position groups.
Sure.
So it's a program problem. Sure. It's not one slacking position coach. I'm at development. I'm at a solid E. They're not getting worse necessarily, but they're not getting better, right? Frost, you saw them get worse. So I'll say the C on that.
Yeah.
Now we talk about recruiting. Recruiting is not the problem here. Recruiting, no. I think he's a solid B+.
Yeah,
solid
I agree.
B+.
I agree.
I'm good there. I think portal activity, again, solid B+. I like what he brings in.
Yeah.
Minus the running back situation.
I would go a little lower. I would go a little lower, but I don't think I don't think I'd go lower than a B, but I get what you're playing at.
I'm good there. It always makes sense.
It
I
does.
know what he's trying to accomplish.
I agree with that.
And if I see strategy, I can grace failure because I thought you were thinking about it.
Sure. A million percent.
This getting to this, do I trust Matt Rule to develop a quarterback?
Mm-hmm.
No, not at all.
No.
And I'll even take it one step further. Look, let me be first to say I'm a huge Dana Holgerson guy. Love Dana. Met him when he was at West Virginia. Like, cool cat, man.
Yeah,
real smart guy. He is a Mike Leach disciple, and when you meet him, you know that.
Sure.
Dana is having to operate inside of constraints that preclude his system from being successful. I don't think Matt Rule, while he knows how to manage a program, he doesn't know how to manage a staff. He has never assembled a staff. It's almost Scott Frost-esque how he manages his staff seemingly by dartboard and executive fiat.
Continue on that.
He really should sit down and read. He really should sit down and read Team of Rivals and leading from the second chair, because his failing as a coach really necessitates that he be the face, but he be the backdoor leader.
Sure.
He needs a strong leader coach to be the behind the scenes coach, and he's the face for the donors, the program, etc. He needs to be George Bush, and he needs to find his Dick Cheney.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that he needs to find his Dick Cheney.
I think that's
and
very interesting way of putting it. Yeah.
He does not hire good staff. I think Jeep Wade will be okay, but other than that, he doesn't find good staff for him.
Yeah.
I'm
vibing with it. I'm vibing with everything you're putting down here, Nate.
I'm going to say some other things.
Sure.
I don't think he does a good job managing expectations.
I agree with that.
If we're going to be real nakedly honest, and I'm kind of in that zone. I'm almost friend of the program, so I'm going to be really blunt here.
Yeah.
The ceiling for Nebraska football is consistently 7 to 8 wins, once a decade hitting 9 or 10, and once or twice a decade hitting 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And unless you are willing to accept that, you're never going to judge any coach rightly. The idea that this team is ever going to see 11 wins again is absolutely insane. Minus, okay, you made it in as the 5th Big Ten team and you stacked 2 wins in the playoff. Maybe you're at 11 now.
Yeah.
Regular season, it's not happening. I personally, now that we have a working proof of concept, I would literally rather see Troy Dannon peel off 40, 50 million and give it to basketball. I hear you, but at the end of the day, as a donor, as a booster, I want return on investment.
Okay. I get that. I get that. I think you're spot on with that.
Got proof of concept.
He does. He does.
There.
Yeah. All right.
He has rebuilt a college version of the Golden State Warriors. Why would you not fund that?
All right. Hey, Nate, this was a great call. I'm going to let you go. We're going to take a break. We're gonna take a break here. That was a great call by Nate. And I let him go a little longer because I think that he was hidden spot. I think a lot of what Nate said was spot on. We're gonna take a break. I'm gonna work off that call. I want to work off that call because there's some things that I agree with and there's some things I disagree with in that call. I think that Nate is spot on with some development issues and some hiring coach issues. I don't know if I give him as much credit in the portal as maybe Nate has given him. But I'll say this. I think there's a lot to work off of what are the real expectations of Nebraska football. I think that's a conversation we need to have because I already see in the chat, Bayman goes, I do not agree with 7 or 8 wins being the ceiling. They should be able to win 9 or more often than not. I want to have a discussion of what is the proper outlook and the proper future. What is the goal that we all are collectively fighting for? Like what is the actually agreed upon? Like this is what Nebraska football can be. Because I think if you ask different people, they have different answers, and I think that's not that common. It's not that common. It really isn't. You look across college football. There are a lot of teams that are very simpatico in terms of, okay, this is what we should be able to do. But I think Nebraska football is one of the few college football programs where there's a little bit of a rift when it comes to what can this program actually be? What is the actual ceiling of this program? And I've kind of beat it around the bush. And I beat around the bush of this conversation a lot over the last year being here, 1620 the zone. Let's tackle it. Let's just tackle it. Let's tackle it. Let's hear your opinions. Let's see if you agree. Let's see if you disagree. What do you think the ceiling of Nebraska football as a program, not under Matt Rule, just Nebraska football as a program is? We'll talk about that next here on Middays with Matt on 1620 the zone.
Middays with Matt on 1620 the zone. Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
College basketball AP Top 25 just released, Josh Hudson.
I've seen this.
Tomorrow's matchup between the Nebraska Cornhuskers and the Purdue Boilermakers in Pinnacle Bank Arena will be number 7, Nebraska, taking on number 13, Purdue. Purdue drops 1 spot in the rankings after their 68-64 kind of last-minute win against Oregon. Kind of tough outing for the Boilermakers. The biggest dropper, you want to guess the biggest dropper of the week, Josh Hudson? In the AP Top 25.
Did Miami of Ohio lose?
No, they did not. They're 24. No, they're ranked number 23. By the way, who would have had it on the bingo card that Miami of Ohio would be ranked ahead of Kentucky at one point this year? Kentucky 25, Miami of Ohio 23. Gonzaga, they drop 6 spots. They go from being number 6 all the way to number 12, which is why Nebraska goes ahead and moves up 2 spots from 9 to 7. Illinois dropped 3 spots after their loss to Michigan State. So they're all the way at number 8. So even after Illinois went on the road and beat Nebraska in, I don't want to say like, wasn't dominating fashion, but it was a good win from Illinois. They're now ranked below Nebraska in the AP Top 25 poll. Tonight's matchup, big one indeed, between Kansas and Arizona. This begins the slate for Arizona, where they just play a daunting Big 12 schedule. I mean, they have to play. They got to go to Lawrence, Kansas tonight. Then on Saturday they play Texas Tech. Then after that they play BYU, followed up by at Houston. Then they get like a little break with Baylor, and then they play Kansas and Iowa State. So according to the rankings, Arizona's scheduled to end the season, they have to play number 11, number 13, number 16, number 8, number 11, and number 7. Only 2 games on Arizona's schedule not ranked to end the year. So that's going to be a gauntlet for Arizona, and it begins tonight. That game, 8 o'clock on ESPN, is going to be a banger. It now is a top 10 matchup, too, because Kansas moved up 2 spots from number 11 to number 9 after their win over Utah. So that should be a good one tonight. Everybody's talking about it. The book is coming out. It is coming out in a couple of days. The Crab Creek Chronicles by Bill Moose. I believe. Help. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
The Crab Creek Chronicles.
Is that a little too dramatic for you?
My book is coming out this summer. It's called The Crab Cake Chronicles.
Nice. I would read The Crab Cake Chronicles.
Whoa, wait. What's the subtitle of this book? Crab Creek Chronicles : Oh
no.
And then there's more, right?
Let me look. I was just on I texted our friend Steve Sipple, who his name is not on the book, but okay.
Because if you Google Crab Creek Chronicles, there's already a trilogy of books.
You ready?
Called the Crab Creek Chronicles.
You ready for this? I didn't even read the subtitle.
Okay.
Crab Creek Chronicles. From the wheat fields to the ball fields and beyond. I was kind of wishing they would go more into the fields. What other fields are there?
Yeah.
From the wheat fields to the ball fields to Justin Fields. There's all the fields. So the Crab Creek Chronicles, which once again, Steve Sipple's name is not on the book, but we're almost positive that he's helped write this thing, correct?
I'm betting he's the ghostwriter.
Okay. So I texted Steve and I texted him, any chance I could get a signed copy of the Crab Creek Chronicles? So if we do, we'll see if Steve responds. I mean, we'll talk to him on Thursday. So all right. So I want to warn people, we're joking and we're making laughs about it, but it is somewhat kind of important because that book is going to have Scott Frost things. Okay.
Yes. And our own Josh Peterson did some great capital J journalism.
Go ahead.
He was able to find that this is a nearly 700-page book.
God. Okay, so we're going to be pulling quotes out of this for months, is what you're telling me.
I got a feeling the shows at the Omaha Baseball Village this summer will just be us reading the book. And then we can turn those podcasts into an audiobook, and that's where the real money's made.
Chapter 1, the wheat fields. Chapter 2, the cornfields. Chapter 3, why I hate Scott Frost.
The ball fields.
Jeez. So I'm just warning people, this book is coming out, and there will be a lot of things to be said about interactions and what happened at Nebraska. And I'm just I have a hunch here, probably not going to be all that great. So we're going to be pulling quotes and laughing at things.
Well, why would you say that about Steve Sipple's book?
No, I mean, I'm not saying the book won't be good. I'm saying the stories about Nebraska and the things that happened within the walls of Nebraska from Bill Moose's perspective probably won't be that great. Won't be the best look. There will probably, I would not be shocked if, Wasserman or Nakos or Thamel or Pickrell or Pate or somebody. And the fact that I'm able to rattle those guys off like they're the 1980 Miracle on Ice team is ridiculous, but those are just college football writers. If they end up like pulling a quote from that book and tweeting it out and it's something funny about Nebraska, I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked.
It's the Schmedium Squad.
Should we have Scott Frost narrate the Bill Moose book?
Well, there is an audiobook on the website.
Oh, is it Steve Sipple?
I don't know. It doesn't.
Oh my God.
It doesn't say who's reading it. I can't click on like how to order it.
Can you imagine if Sip?
It's not a good website, Bill.
We gotta be careful. Oh God, if that could come over the form.
Just stick to the copy. Just stick to the page there.
Copy. No, I'm just, this book reminds me of the one time that I went to the Taco Inn, talked to Frank Solich. All right, let's talk about Nate's call. Nate had a great call. I have a couple of thoughts on his call. So it was a great call in the last segment. It was about 4.5 minutes for those who are joining us. And I kind of let Nate cook, and I just let him go. I thought he was making some good points. Talked about, and I kind of posed the idea of, look, Sam Darnold just won a Super Bowl yesterday. He was the quarterback for Matt Rule at Carolina and had to leave Carolina and then go to San Francisco to be his backup quarterback. And then you bring up the fact that Matt Rule had another successful quarterback under him had another quarterback under him who then had to leave. That quarterback, Baker Mayfield, had to go to LA first to play a game to get his swagger back, and then to Tampa Bay and became a successful quarterback. Then you have Jeff Sims, who Matt Rule very famously brought here to Nebraska in his first season. And Sims was not good at all. It's probably Rule's biggest miss, if we're being honest, in his tenure, in his 3 years here at the University of Nebraska. And Sims went off to Arizona State, and at the end of last season, played some really good football overall and made some big improvements and played like the player that we thought we'd more closely see here in Lincoln. And so I brought up the idea that I like the Calandria, acquiring Anthony Calandria to be the quarterback for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. But I have a little bit of trepidation and hesitancy of getting overly excited about it just because Matt Rule's past over the last 6 years has shown that he has not been great in evaluating, investing, and developing quarterbacks. Nate called in, gave a great call, and gave his grades on certain things and said that the transfer portal he gave it a B. I would B plus. I'd probably give it closer to a B. He said that recruiting isn't the problem. I mean, if they end up locking up the 2027 class and they end up continue to trend the way they're trending, I totally agree with that. Recruiting isn't a problem. And by the way, a Rivals article just came out saying that Fort Lauderdale cornerback 4-star Bryce Williams is very much trending toward becoming a Nebraska Cornhusker, which would be an incredible pickup for Nebraska. So, I agree. I agreed with a lot of Nate's grades and whatnot, but then Nate brought up an interesting point. He was like, I think the proper expectations and the proper peak for Nebraska's program is 7 to 8 wins year in and year out. And then, maybe once every decade you get to 9 and you go to the college football playoff. I disagree with that. I think Nebraska can be better than that. I think, why can't Nebraska football do the things that Iowa's doing? What does Iowa do every year? Right? They win 8 to 10 games. Okay. They win typically closer 8 to 9, right? And they trot out a very well-coached team, very well organized, that does the little things right, that doesn't make big mistakes, that doesn't crap all over themselves, They execute on special teams. And yeah, does Iowa beat the Michigans and Ohio States and, the Penn States routinely? No, they do not. But Iowa doesn't lose to the lower tier teams. Iowa doesn't crap the bed against Northwestern or Maryland or Rutgers or anything like that, right? Iowa goes out, and every year you can expect, 8 to 9 wins. And then once every 4 years, or not once every 4 years, once in a while, what happens with Iowa? They catch lightning in a bottle, right? They're like, oh, this team's actually better than what we typically expect. And they'll make they'll be in the top 10 at the end of the AP poll, or they might be in the conversation of, making the college football playoff, or they'll be in the Big Ten championship game, right? Like that's what Iowa does. Iowa wins 8 to 9 wins every year. And then once in a while, probably once every decade, they just got a really good group together. And then all right, hey, we're going to go and win 10. Hey, we're going to go and compete for a college football playoff spot. Hey, we're going to go and compete for a Big Ten title. Why can't Nebraska be that? I think Nebraska can be that without a doubt. I think that is honestly Nebraska's peak. I think Nebraska's peak is 8 to 9 wins every year. And then once every couple of years, you catch lightning in a bottle and you make the college football playoff. My expectations will never be for Nebraska to win a national championship. That my expectations won't be there. I think the peak of Nebraska right now, with just the landscape of college football, because in part Nebraska doesn't have, that top donor. My peak in my mind is hosting a college football playoff game. If Nebraska could ever host a college football playoff game, I'd be like, my God, they did. Like this is they did it. Like they did it. Holy crap, they did it. But I'll never be like, I know it's hard for me to subscribe to the fact that like my expectation will be for Nebraska to win a national championship. And there's factors that play into it. They don't have that super donor. They don't have a Larry Ellison. They don't have the guy who owns Raising Cane's. They don't have the BYU money. They don't have the Texas Tech money. That hurts them. Nebraska not being situated in the best place in terms of, recruiting pipeline, right? Like there's a reason why the SEC won all those national championships, is because the best players in high school and the best prospects for college are playing in the South. I think there's a reason why Nebraska played so well in the Big 12 was because it was easier to recruit guys from Texas, right? And, a really good pipeline too is kind of in that Ohio, New Jersey area. Well, that's kind of owned by Ohio State and Michigan and those teams over there. So I think the factor of not being situated in the best pipeline for high school recruits, along with not having that super donor, causes me to never have the expectation of Nebraska football to win a national championship. But I think the peak of Nebraska football for sure can be 8 to 9 wins every year. And once every couple, you're right there for a college football playoff spot. And I think the peak to me would be hosting a college football playoff game, which means you are one of the top, 7 seeds in the country. That's great. That's a higher peak than a lot of teams, right? And I think be really, really tough to accomplish it, which is why it's a peak. But I think Nebraska could do it. And I'm just saying it as an athletic department. But the expectation of 7 to 8 wins every year, no. I think the peak of Nebraska football is 8 to 9 every year. And then you catch lightning in a bottle, you get 10. I think you totally can accomplish that. I think you totally can build that. I think you totally can do that at Nebraska with good coaching, with good evaluation, with good player development. I think you can. I think that's something you can do. Also, too, you're winning 8 to 9 games every year. You're going to have donors who want to participate more and give you more money because you have a proof of concept. Because, hey, we know that you're right there in terms of getting the college football playoff. Here's a bump. Here's an increase. Here's that little nudge you might need to get that 10th win, right? Nebraska football needs to stop having the conversation of how do we go from 7 to 8, and you need to start having the conversation of how do you go from 9 to 10, okay? Right? But you need to get to 8 first, right? But the better conversations are, hey, how can we? The better conversation is not how do we go from the Holiday Bowl to the Pop-Tart Bowl. The better conversation is how do we go from the Pop-Tart Bowl to the college football playoff. And Nebraska needs to be there. Nebraska can be there. Nebraska has the opportunity and ability to be there. I think they can do that. I think 7 to 8 is a little bit of a low bar. But what they need more than anything to do that, to eventually accomplish that, is good coaching and good player development. And frankly, they haven't had that. They have not had that under Matt Rule. A little bit of both of one and the other. There have been some in-game coaching mistakes, and there has been some player development failures. And if you're ever going to reach that peak that I talk about, that 8 to 9 wins, and then once every couple of years competing for that CFP spot, you can't miss. Right? You can't have those inconsistencies. Right? When beating top teams in the country, the margins are super thin. You got to adjust in game, right? You got to make in-game adjustments. You got to make halftime adjustments. You got to use your timeouts properly. You got to manage the clock. You have to manage the flow of the game. You got to understand, where do we press? When do we waste time? You got to mix things up. You got to be better in that regard. And then you got to be better in the regard of just getting a player and making them great. Here's my one thing about Nate's grade of the portal and the B+ portal. I think, Nebraska has done a good job of identifying, hey, this is our need, and we're going to attack that need and getting guys who are starters. But Nebraska football has failed to get a superstar guy out of the portal. They have failed to get a game-changing dude out of the portal. Right?
Guys that were supposed to be.
Yeah.
They've gotten.
Matt Rule specifically has failed. I mean, they haven't had David Bailey, right? They haven't had a Fernando Mendoza. They haven't had a Xavier Lucas. They haven't had these guys who you get out of the portal and they're bang.
Dylan was supposed to be that to some extent.
They haven't. They've gotten fine players. Banks was fine. Nair was fine. Key was fine. Right? They've got Billy Cup was fine, but they haven't gotten that. Whoa. Superstar stud. Holy crap. Maybe Calandria can be that, but all encircling back to the point. I like Anthony Calandria. The history of Matt Rule does not allow me to trust him that he is going to develop into this great player. I don't fully trust it. I have some trepidation. I have some hesitancy. See, Baymon goes Trey Palmer maybe, but Palmer wasn't a Rule guy. Palmer was a Mickey Joseph guy. So it's one of those things where I really do think Nebraska football can be competing at their peak year in and year out to make the college football playoff. I really do. Do I think that they'll be at the point where it's like every year they make it? No, I don't. I don't foresee this football program becoming an Ohio State, right? But I can if Iowa can do it, man, if Iowa every year 8 to 9 wins, and then once every 7, 8, 9 years, they just catch a really good roster and they catch a really good recruiting class and bang, they're right in the CFP convo. They can do that. Why can't you? Why can't you, Nebraska? We'll talk about Creighton basketball here on Middays. Matt, been a lot of Husker football today. We'll switch things up a little bit up next in our next segment. Then at 1 o'clock, we'll go ahead and talk about North Dakota State, stick with the football theme, and then at 1:20, Robin Washut will join us from On3 and Husker Online, all here on Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone. Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
I just got my Spotify to wrap for United Airlines. What? I got my Spotify. It says I got my year in review from United Airlines.
Okay.
It's like the Spotify to wrap where everybody posts like what their top artist was and songs and everything. I got mine though for more adult
version.
United's version.
Nice of them to do that. 6 weeks into the new year.
I earned 79,000 miles this year.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot.
Well, I have the United Explorers card, Mr. Josh Otts, and all my purchases are made on said card. So that's how yeah.
That's a lot of purchases.
Yeah. Well, I got a 60,000 mile bonus because I know how to do the system, my man. I know how to take advantage of it. Do you know how many hours I spent in the air this year?
4.
15.
Okay.
Perfect. That's all I need. That's me in review, by the way. I have a United Explorers card for miles, and yet I only spent 15 hours in the air the entire year. By the way, I don't want to spend any more. I do not want to spend any more time in the air. Do not like the air. Okay. Well, I like the air that I breathe, but I don't like being in a plane. Great conversation happening right now in our YouTube chat between everybody. Always love that when we're getting active in the YouTube chat. Hey, real quick here, we have a big giveaway here. You can enter online at 1620thezone.com for your chance to win a year's supply of Girl Scout cookies. Brought to you by Girl Scouts Spirit of Nebraska. So Girl Scout season runs from now all the way until March 15th. Cookies booth start Friday, February 13th, which is in a couple of days, which is, you know what that's in time for? Valentine's Day. So go ahead.
Right.
Make your partner incredibly happy with some Girl Scout cookies. You can order online at www.girlscoutofnebraska.org. By the way, warning right now for everybody, next year the Super Bowl will be on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, you're going to want to know that now. Start working that now.
Start planning for, all right, how do I get around this? Do we have a nice dinner on the 13th? Do we do something very special on the 12th, maybe on that Friday? How do I communicate now to my partner? I'm not going to be available from 5:30, really closer 5 o'clock, all the way up until 10 o'clock on Valentine's Day. Just put that in your mind.
Got to think of something
right now. Got to think of something. Or you can just be single like me and not have to worry about it.
That's an option. Some are taking that route.
Tired is finding a girlfriend. Wired is not having to spend a lot of money on Valentine's Day. Creighton men's basketball picked up a very big win against Seton Hall. We will talk about that next on the other side of this break, along with North Dakota State going from the FCS to the FBS. What does it mean for the Bison? What does it mean for FCS teams? What does it mean for FBS teams? What can you expect from North Dakota State? What is the expectation for North Dakota State? You got to remember, they're not going to be eligible right away to make the playoff. But when they do become eligible in 2028, what does that mean for the landscape of college football? We will talk about all of that and more. Last hour of Middays with Matt coming up next here on 1620 The Zone.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
1620 The Zone is giving away a pair of tickets to this Sunday's Omaha Mavericks men's basketball game. The Mavs take on the Denver Pioneers on Sunday at 12 p.m., February 15th. You can listen to Middays with Matt, this show, for a chance to win your way to the Omaha Mavericks game on Sunday. Mavs, they returned to the corner. Paul Jabay, averaged 20 and a half points and 10 rebounds and was the Summit League Player of the Week. I think that was 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. But then they've had this tough 3-game stretch where they played the 3 best teams in the Summit League, nearly defeated North Dakota, then had a tough battle with North Dakota State. But they play a big one tomorrow, or on Thursday, rather, against St. Thomas. Sticking on Omaha athletics, shout out Coach Mike Hurd and the Omaha softball team. A 4-0 start this season for the Mavericks. They defeated Iowa State twice in the Unidome to kick off the season. They're now going to go on a West Coast road trip for a couple of days when they play Utah Tech, Southern Utah, FDU, Boise State, all next weekend. And so also shout out to Nebraska softball. They went 3-2 in their first 5 games of the season, defeating both Washington and number 1 team in the country, Texas, once in their opening tournament. So softball in full effect. Baseball will be starting up. All Nebraska-based D1 teams will be playing this Friday. Nebraska takes on UConn. Omaha plays Arizona State, and then Creighton will play St. Mary's in California. So baseball is in full swing after the football season ended yesterday with the Seattle Seahawks defeating the New England Patriots. Drake May can't wait to have all those "is he really good in the playoffs" conversations. Definitely not going to throw in there that, number 1, he played against an incredible defense in the Houston Texans. Number 2, he played against an incredible team in the Denver Broncos in a snowstorm. And number 3, he played against an even more incredible defense in the Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl, which, by the way, people were like shocked that Seattle's defense played the way they did yesterday. Can I just throw this out here, guys? That Seattle Seahawks defense team allowed 17 points per game this season. They played a combined 6 games against the Rams and the 49ers, who have prolific offenses with prolific offensive coaches who have multiple Hall of Famers on their roster. That defense played those teams and averaged those stats. Yeah, they were great. Why are you shocked? Devon Witherspoon is one of the best corners in the game. Julian Love is one of the best safeties in the game. Kobe Bryant has been playing great football all year. Oh, and by the way, Nick Amenwari has been an absolute freakazoid this season. And so it's one of those things where I don't know why people were so shocked and surprised. And I think that this team easily, I know people are going to hate it, but they're easily probably going to go down as one of the more underrated teams in terms of Super Bowl winners, in my opinion. And I think that some people were calling the Super Bowl the NFC Championship game. They were right. Or sorry, they were calling the NFC Championship game the Super Bowl. They were right. By the way, shout out John Schneider. When we give a lot of credit to Veach, and we give a lot of credit to Howie Roseman, and we give a lot of credit to numerous GMs across the league, but Schneider has now done it twice with 2 different rosters and 2 different quarterbacks, lead Seattle to a Super Bowl. And he kind of did the same thing. LOB was way more popular than this Seattle Seahawks defense, like the Legion of Boom. It was such a good nickname, and you had a lot of loud guys on that team, right? You had a Richard Sherman, and you had Cam Chancellor, and you had just these kind of charismatic enigmas a little bit on that. Had a lot of personality on that Legion of Boom team. You didn't have as much personality on this dark side defense is what we're calling it, even though Iowa Western will be on the phone to dispute that. But what you did have was a lot of the same pieces. You had a lockdown corner. You had a freakazoid safety who could play both linebacker and safety, and kind of collapse the run game and allow Kobe Bryant and Julian Love to play some great football. You had
a beefy defensive line that you had multiple guys across that line get after the quarterback. I mean, DeMarcus Lawrence, man, congratulations to him. I mean, very recognized Dallas Cowboy, first year in Seattle, ends up winning a Super Bowl. And then on top of that, right, the Seahawks had this really good quarterback in Russell Wilson and had this really good quarterback in Sam Darnold. But at the end of the day, what did they really pin the offense on both those teams in 2013 and now 2026? The run game. They had a great run game. And they had a great run game with Marshawn Lynch, and they had a really, really great run game with Kenneth Walker, who also did it out of the backfield, had over 200 receiving yards in his final 6 games. So, you know, I got to give credit to Schneider. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, these two teams that he won Super Bowls with Seattle were built very similarly. And, you know, he did it with a defensive coach and Mike McDonald, who did not get enough credit before he led to Seattle to being the number 1 seed in the NFC. And I don't think he'll get enough credit as time moves on. But easily one of the best coaches in the NFL. Easily. And the first ever defensive play caller to win a Super Bowl. I think that is wildly, wildly impressive. By the way, too, you also got to give plenty of credit to Mike Vrabel. I know it didn't end the way that they wanted it to, but still a hell of an accomplishment for that coach to go ahead in his first year lead his team to the Super Bowl. Loved your tweet yesterday, Josh Hodson. You said that you love watching Mike Vrabel on the sidelines because he always has a smile on his face. You can tell he loves football. Totally right. He's a football guy.
It was pretty early in the game when he had a smile on his face, but yes.
By the way, that was a really weird. Job of Seattle literally just punched the dude punched Stephon Diggs right in the face in front of a referee, and no flag and no ejection. Yeah. I've never seen anything like that. Would it have affected the outcome of the game? No. Was Mike Vrabel totally well within his right to be going ape, you know what, on the sideline? You're damn right he was. Quite ridiculous. But Seattle, they were the best team this season at the end of the year, in my opinion, and they end up being the Super Bowl champion. No surprise, and I can say that because Matt McFutures cashes in once again, baby.
Boom.
Boom. B-O-O-M. Boom. Also won a squares pool yesterday. That's like the first time that's ever happened. Can't believe that. I mean, it's absolute insanity, Josh Johnson. These nice things don't happen to me. Oh, my God. I mean,
a 9-3, pretty odd square to
I
get.
know. I got it, and I was like, what the? I was like, this sucks. And then we were getting down, and I was like, oh, no. I was like, oh, my God, this is happening. No more points, please. But no.
As an under-better, I was also saying no more points.
No more points. Hey, you hit a good one. You sent me it. What was it?
First touchdown by whatever that guy's name was.
I don't know. Josh Johnson, you're a sneaky little gambler, man. I've learned that about you.
I looked at my account and I said, how did I profit off of this game? Oh, I bet this guy I've never heard of.
Isn't that great?
The first touchdown.
I did that one time where I meant to bet the over of a game. And I accidentally bet the under. And then the over. So I'm rooting for the over to happen. The over doesn't hit. And I'm like upset about it. I go to my account to make another bet and I have money and I go, what the hell happened? And then I go, oh, I guess I bet the under. I'm like, I don't know if that feels like a win.
Hey, I heard a lot of people saying it wasn't a great Super Bowl last night.
I don't know. I made a lot of money.
I made some money, so I don't know. Pretty cool.
I actually was happy it was a crappy game. Yeah. By the way, I didn't think it was that bad. Like, I thought the Rams-Patriots game was much worse than that game.
I agree with that. In the first half, I was like, because that's about when it started popping up, and I was like, no, this is just good defense.
Yeah, this is
and then in the second half, I was like, oh, okay, I'm no longer having fun watching good defense.
So the thing is that how long can you go enjoying watching good defense? I think for me, I agree with you. That first half with like the sacks and the rushing and like them just sending Devon Witherspoon like a bat out of hell and him impact, like that was fun. That was enjoyable. But then New England started dropping passes and Darnold started missing passes and May started missing passes. And that's like the difference. I will watch great defense every day, but I hate bad offense. And it was very clear that both defenses were wearing down these offenses and they were now more prone to making mistakes, which wasn't as fun. But I agree with you. That first half, like it was kind of like the It reminded me a little bit of the Texas A&M Miami game from this college football playoff.
I loved that game.
Like that game in the first half was actually, holy crap, this is good defense. That third quarter stunk, where it was like, this sucks. And then, and you didn't really have it in the Super Bowl, but then in that game, remember, like there was lead changes and touchdowns and offense in the last couple of minutes. But I don't know. That wasn't I would take that Super Bowl over a couple Super Bowls. Not a lot of them, but a couple. What'd you think of what'd you think of the halftime show?
I liked the production value.
Me too.
I enjoyed it looked like everyone was having fun.
I didn't know that the fields that he was walking through were people.
Those were people.
Those were real people. Do you claim
feels like you probably could have just affixed something to a flat surface?
Okay.
And
now I would love to have been in that meeting when they're like, all right, here's what Bunny wants. He wants
that's how they would say it.
He wants a field, like a maze that he can walk through and perform through. Okay. Like a field. Well, I don't know how we're gonna do that, Marv. I mean, that's we're gonna have to make the grass. And,
we got like 3 minutes to get everything in and off,
and,
in and out.
The trucks and moving this, and then we got to place each. And then what if they don't connect? And then what if the maze is off? Like there's a lot. There's just a lot of room to.
I can't have him out there looking like the Weekend where he doesn't know where to go. Huh?
And this is, and also too, we're going to tear up the field because we're putting grass on grass, and then I don't know. It's just going to be a lot to do. Mark, what if we dress the people up? Grass, and we had them walk all there, and then we gave them markers where to stand. I would have loved to have been in that meeting. That person should have been paraded around because they did it. They executed it.
Brian, that's it.
That was it. That's what exactly we need to do. We need to dress people up like fields and then have them stand around. Oh my God. That's a great, whoever did that should get a raise because it was genius. They made the field and I just can't, like, I'm watching this and I'm also reading Hunger Games at the same time. And so, like, I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, this is so dystopian universe. Like, this is the type of crap that the Capitol would do in Hunger Games where they dress everybody up in grass and they have them stand around so they could have this eccentric performance. But I enjoyed it. The bar I was at, people were getting after it during Bad Bunny.
I was definitely tapping my toe.
A little merengue, a little salsa.
My boy Ronald Acuna Jr. was there.
Little bachata, if you will. The hips were moving. The hips were moving at the bar I was at. It was a great time. Do you know what will be a great time? Talking to Robin Washut about Nebraska basketball. That comes up next here on Middays with Ann on 1620 The Zone.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, you want to go and see the Omaha Supernovas in action? 1620 The Zone has got you covered. Omaha Supernovas host the Orlando Valkyries Sunday, February 15, 5 p.m. at CHI Health Center, Omaha. Listen all week to the Happer and Schaefer Show for a chance to win your way to the game. We have a special treat coming up for our Omaha Supernova fans at some point this week. We will be joined by a certain player of the Omaha Supernovas in person. We will not reveal that yet until the day of the game, but Josh and I have been working very hard, and we're very excited to bring this person on Middays with Matt. That'll happen at some point in the middle of the week. We will go to the Prairie Flower Casino hotline, play longer, win more. Prairie Flower Casino, where we will bring in our friend, our good friend, Mr. Robin Washut of On3, Husker Online. Maybe still recovering from the trip to Piscataway. I mean, how's New Jersey nowadays? How is that?
Cold and really snowy.
Oh wow!
They've gotten quite a bit of snow up there, which was new. Usually it's just kind of cold and gray and dirty out there. So you add a little white snow, kind of pretty things up a little bit. But
okay,
the trip was fine. It's a long trip, and flying in and out of Newark, and that adds some fun to everything.
Yeah.
The worst part was the 3 a.m. Eastern time alarm that went off for my 6 a.m. flight out of Newark. So Sunday was a grind, especially when, you had to stay up and watch a really boring football game that night. So made it through it though, and we're getting back to reality here.
I don't think anybody would have blamed you if you said, I'm just going to skip the Super Bowl. Nebraska basketball is great.
Yeah, I know. I thought about it, but I've made the mistake of getting my kids way into sports now, and so they've been jacked up for that. It was 10:30 in the morning. I get home and they're like, "Hey, let's watch the Super Bowl." It's it doesn't start for another 7 hours. You got some time to kill. Kids, so, but no, it was fine. I pushed through, grinded through. It's kind of the price you pay.
Yeah,
doing the basketball travel life.
Are your kids Giants fans like you?
Yes.
Okay.
They want them to do well.
No.
But I'm also not putting them in a situation where they have no choice.
You're a good dad.
It's a difficult spot, especially when you have to try to muster up reasons why they should continue to root for the Giants.
Yeah.
So they like the Giants, and if they get things back to at least moderate contention again, then it'll be I think a smooth transition. My son jumped on the Bengals, and my daughter likes the Raiders.
Okay.
I give them options to just pick teams, and they both like those uniforms. So
good for them.
I said, well, you're not doing yourself many favors by picking those two teams. But
well, yeah.
You do you.
Well, my dad did that with me, where he was like, "Look, you can be a Cub fan. I'd love for you to be a Cubs fan, but I will give you the option to be a Yankees fan. If you want to be a Yankees fan, I will buy you the shirts, I'll buy you the hats, I'll buy you the jerseys. When they come to town, we will go to the games. I don't want you to go through the pain I went through." And I go, I'm good. I'm a Cub fan. So that's your very, very similar thought process there. I will ask you here, I've been very happy for you. You deserve to cover this great team because you've covered teams that weren't so desirable in the past. Out of all of the places, because you're traveling a ton, out of all the places that you've been to, do you have any favorite spots? Do you have any favorite restaurants or anything like that? Have you where has your best experience been in the traveling circus? I don't want to call it traveling circus, but you traveling essentially with this Nebraska basketball team this season.
Yeah, so I've got to see some new places. I really hadn't traveled a lot for Big Ten basketball. For one, it's different than football because the shelf life isn't as long. With football, you got a whole week to utilize all the coverage and all that sort of thing. I went to Rutgers, and now we're already talking about Purdue. I just got back yesterday, and now we're already on to Purdue. So that kind of limits your travel. But when Nebraska's this good, it's kind of a no-brainer for us. So we've been able to go to some more places, and they're shorter trips, and I will say they're much different than football travel because I'm not traveling with Sean, and usually when you travel with Sean, you're getting the 5-star
platinum experience everywhere you go. So I've had to kind of slum it up and do like the normal person travel for a lot of these things. But the trip that stands out was Bloomington for me, because every time I've been there before, but every time I've been there, it's been like in and out, because we always stay in Indy or Chicago or whatever. So like this was the first time I've actually got to like hang out in Bloomington, and that was the night the Friday night that we got there was the night Indiana was playing in the semifinal of the college football playoff. Wow. And so like, you know, it was kind of a little buzz going like around the campus, and like, you know, it was hopping a little bit. So I liked Bloomington. I think there was a fun little college town, you know, some like cool bars and stuff like that. So for my first experience actually getting to hang out in that town, I was pleasantly surprised.
I went to Nebraska instead of Indiana because I wanted to go to a football school. How funny is that now in 2026, how that works? Let's talk about this basketball team. And look, I've been calling them great because they are great. I just, you know, 21-2. The only two teams that they've lost to are ranked in the top 10 in the AP, and they competed with both of them from, you know, buzzer to buzzer. They should have won against Michigan. It was, you know, we don't have to get too far into that, but this is a great team. Just how is it for you watching this team, just how consistent they are? They are just consistently consistent. And, you know, we've seen teams across the Big Ten just have letdowns and just play bad and not look like themselves and, you know, barely beat teams they should have plenty of, they should have no problem beating, right? I mean, or Purdue struggled with Oregon, and, you know, Michigan struggled with Penn State. What is it about this team, and what does it stem from the fact that they just don't really dip? They just are who they are, game in and game out.
Yeah, I mean, that's why they are where they are right now, is because of that consistency and the fact that they don't have the ups and downs, or as Tim Miles used to say, the EKG, where they're one team one night and a completely different team the next. Like that kind of steady Eddie approach, I think, is you know, a big component to what this season has been. So that's kind of been a hallmark of them. You know, they're not going to overwhelm you with their star power. Like they don't have a bunch of All-Americans, like, you know, like a Purdue or whatever it is. But they have a core of really good players that all do things really well and have kind of their own roles that each individual piece fits together to make this complete puzzle that, you know, is now a 21-win team. And I think the only time you really saw them have a quote-unquote letdown was the Illinois game at home. But you know, guess what? That was against you know, one of the top teams in college basketball, with your best player still working his way back from illness and your sixth man still working his way back off an ankle injury. So like for by and large, really the only inconsistency, I mean, outside of the Illinois game, has been, you know, maybe playing down to lesser opponents at sometimes, like, you know, struggling against North Dakota, or, you know, putzing around versus Winthrop, or, you know, or letting a 20-point lead get down to 12 against Rutgers. But like, whenever they do that, they figure it out. Like, and that's kind of the other part of it too, is like, you don't worry about this team letting, you know, the play-to-play, half-to-half emotions derail them, because when it comes down to it, more often than not, they're going to figure out what they need to do, and they're going to do what they need to do. And that's, again, in the marathon that is a college basketball season, consistency is the biggest key of all. And Nebraska's been about as consistent as any team in the country, especially in the Big Ten.
You know, and it's funny, right? You talk about the Winthrop game, and you talk about like the North Dakota game. I mean, they still beat North Dakota by 23, right? And they still beat Rutgers by 12. And so even when, you know, and they had that moment right against Northwestern where they didn't have their best half necessarily, and same thing against Minnesota where they didn't have their best half, and they still won those games by double digits too. So you're right. It's not just that they're consistent. When they aren't consistent, they figure it out pretty quickly, right? Exactly. And they redirect course, which is so impressive. Let's talk about an impressive performance from Rick Mask against Rutgers. He was in his bag. I mean, dude, that baby hook, man. I mean, I know it doesn't always drop, but it's just so pretty how he does it, and you know, his ability to just work in the post. It's one of those things I appreciate as someone who misses that aspect of basketball now that we've gone into the efficiency age of just threes and twos. But you know, 26 points, and he only made 1 3. I mean, was that an emphasis for them in that game? Did they go into that game
thinking, look, this is the one where we got to get Rink right. We got to get him moving. We got to get some momentum going with him.
Yeah, 100%. And he's the guy they built this entire roster around. So like he has to be good, and they need him to play with that confidence that he had earlier in the season. And you just got to wonder, like, what could have been if he would have been right against Michigan or Illinois or whatever it is. Like, I mean, like he's the most critical player on this roster because he is such an X factor when he is on the top of his game. Nebraska's almost impossible to defend because of the shooting component he brings and all the different things that he can do offensively. So the struggles had gone beyond his illness, though. I mean, like basically since the Michigan State game, his efficiency really plummeted. So even when he was scoring in double figures, which was limited in its own right, he's taken a lot of shots to get there, and it didn't look like he had that confidence shooting the way that he did when he was making 6 threes against Oklahoma or whatever it may be. Like, so like they knew that a lot of times the best way to snap yourself out of a shooting funk is just to see the ball go in. Well, when it's not going in from deep, you just get closer. And so they hammered the ball inside to him right out of the gate. Like that was a clear emphasis for them offensively, and especially when they found out that Rutgers was going small. So like they've got a big physical front court, but they took their biggest, strongest guy off the court and replaced him in the starting lineup to kind of match Nebraska's backcourt.
Yeah.
Well, that opened everything up for Rink, where he had the opportunity to just go back to the basket, utilize that jump hook, and kind of get going inside out. And again, he got to the line. He got it. He was able to score within the paint. And when 23 of your 26 points are inside the arc, that's a good way to get some confidence back. So now the next step is translating that confidence that he had closer to the rim and extend that from behind the 3-point line. And that is no more critical, I think, than it will be tomorrow night. When Purdue has struggled, it's been when bigs are hitting threes. And if Rink can have one of those games where he finally takes the lid off from 3-point range and hits 3, 4, 5 or whatever threes, then all of a sudden Purdue they defensively have had real issues with that.
They have.
And they aren't able to put their bigs in the paint and do all the things they like to do. So that stresses them probably more than anything else. And there's no better player on Nebraska's roster to stress Purdue than Rink Mass getting hot again from 3-point range. So as good as it was to see him rack up some points and do his inside the arc stuff, 3-point Rink could be the ultimate deciding factor in Nebraska winning this one tomorrow night.
Are we assuming Bear K on Trey Kaufman, Wren, and Rink on Clough? Is that what we're?
I mean, they kind of. I don't know if they're going to go straight man. I mean, they're going to continue to trap the post, and the one thing that really concerns you is, whatever they're doing guarding the post. I would probably assume Bear K is on Trey Kaufman, Wren a little bit, just because of Kaufman, Wren's. He just requires a little more versatility defensively.
Big time.
So, but beyond that, like Fletcher Lawyer is probably the big X factor for Purdue, because Braden Smith's one of the best in college basketball. Trey Kaufman-Wren, is a preseason, all Big Ten, potential All-American guy in his own right. But when Lawyer is going, that's when Purdue gets really dangerous. And oh, by the way, he scored 29 and 18 points in his last 2 games after going 4 straight in single figures. So like him getting hot is kind of probably as big of a concern as anything for Nebraska, because like, Braden Smith's going to get his, Kaufman-Wren is going to get his. But when they have that third piece that can go off for 20, that, we talk about Rink stress in defenses. That's what stresses opposing defenses against Purdue. And so like their perimeter activity and physical, aggressive, hard closeouts, quick rotations on all those, quick passes. Like Braden Smith, the best thing that he does is drive to the paint and kick out for threes. And so like that, that's a problem for everybody. And Nebraska's been pretty good at that for the most part, but they have to be as good as they've been all season. And as always, I love the term hand activity. That's what Fred Hoiberg always says. So when they're deflecting passes and throwing Purdue's offense, which is, I think, number 3 in the nation in offensive efficiency right now, anything you can do to throw them out of rhythm and make them have to kind of, clunk it up a little bit, that is going to help you tenfold. Because when you let Purdue just operate as they want and play with all the flow and rhythm that they can have, you're in for a long night. So as much disruption as Nebraska can cause with hand activity, deflections, and aggressive closeouts on the perimeter will probably be as important, if not more so, than how they defend the post.
It's one of those things too, where it's like the theory of Purdue is if you have to pay a lot of attention to Trey Kaufman-Renn, then you're going to be running around, off-ball screens trying to catch up with Fletcher Lawyer, who hits them because Braden Smith is handling the ball and he's just pinging it around, right? And that's, they haven't been able to fully harness that, but when they do, they're incredibly difficult to beat. I last question here before we let you go. I even before your answer, I was kind of flirting with asking you about this, but it's kind of in tow with what you were mentioning. Do you think they throw a zone at them?
I would doubt it.
Okay.
I mean, they might at times, but they're not going to rely on it. If anything, it could be like a reactionary wrinkle they throw in, because one of the things that Fred and Sam Hoiberg talked about today was how much Purdue changes things up over the course of the game, on both ends of the floor. Like, they throw an offense and a defensive scheme at you to start, and then the second media timeout they come out with something completely different. And so Nebraska's adaptability and I guess ability to adjust on the fly is going to be critical, because Purdue. Matt Painter has as deep of a playbook as anybody in all of college basketball, and he's going to go into it against Nebraska to keep them guessing and keep them, having to constantly adjust as much as they can from start to finish. So that, they could throw some zone as a way to combat some of those unique wrinkles that Purdue throws at them. But again, Nebraska is also a team that they've gotten to where they are right now. They won 21 games, kind of sticking to their philosophies defensively. So I don't expect some complete overhaul of their defensive scheme, but I also wouldn't close the book on them, potentially trying some new things out and maybe leaning a little bit on some zone here and there, just to make Purdue have to adjust as well.
Robin Washut of Husker Online and On3, always the best 120 every Monday here on Middays with Matt. Robin, we will talk to you soon, my friend. You have a good game tomorrow. It's going to be a fun one at the Vault.
Should be. Looking forward to it. Talk to you next week.
Talk to you next week. Looking forward to that as always. Coming up next, Josh Hodson tells us in a pretty decent day of sports what we are watching tonight, and I give you the dog of the day here on Middays with Matt on 1620 Zone.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone. Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt closing out here on 1620 The Zone. Shout out Ian for that song, by the way. I'm never not going to stop saying shout out Ian for making that song. So good. I love the favorite part of my Middays with Matt song is the like after the one of the verses, it's the like punk rock map. So good. So good. Josh Hodson, what are we watching tonight?
Still going. Wow. We're going to watch college basketball tonight. Big East, 5:30 FS1. Xavier at number 17 now. St. John's. And then this is a basketball matchup. I want to repeat that before I say it. Oregon, Indiana.
Whoa.
7:30 on FS1 with Kevin Kugler and Nick Baugh.
Really? They put Kevin and Nick on that game?
They did. I don't know why.
Is that in Eugene? No, it's in Indiana.
Bloomington.
Yeah.
For
that
some
game's
reason.
going to be a bludgeoning. Which, by the way, Indiana needs that game. They're on the bubble right now. They're projected to be a 10 seed in the NCAA tournament. Can't lose that one to stinky Oregon.
And then probably your main event tonight, 8 o'clock ESPN, number 1 Arizona at number 9 Kansas. Women's basketball, couple ranked matchups today. Number 18 Kentucky at number 4 Texas, 6:30 on SEC Network. And 8 o'clock on ESPN2, it's number 10 Oklahoma at number 5 Vanderbilt. NBA doubleheader on Peacock, Bucks Magic at 6:30, followed by Thunder Lakers. Olympics, we got women's hockey on right now, USA versus Switzerland on USA. And then primetime in Milan at 7 o'clock on NBC. You're going to get men's alpine skiing, figure skating. They're doing the rhythm dancing tonight. And the women's slope style final. And another hockey game you can watch tonight, the 2026 Beanpot Championship.
Oh, yeah, big one.
Boston versus Boston College, 7 o'clock on NHL Network or ESPN Plus, Matt.
If I want to go and see rhythm dancing, I'll go to the Rhino.
Yeah. I don't know what a lot of those words were, but you sounded very confident.
By the way, breaking news here. Not really breaking, but I just saw the forecast for the Daytona 500 on Sunday. It's supposed to rain. So no rain all day in Daytona Beach, Florida, except from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's supposed to rain. So probably
a Monday Daytona 500.
That's probably what we're going to deal with here.
All right, folks, let's talk right now. I'm going to kill your bookmaker. I'm going to rip his throat out. I will blow this man out. I will step on his throat until the man chokes. Let me tell you how. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. I'm on a roll.
Dude, you got to love dogs, right?
All right. A lot of our dogs for the Super Bowl did not hit, by the way, which I still have to go back. We're still early enough in the show where I can go back and I can add up how we're doing. I think we're around, we're down, but we're around. Okay. We're not out. We're down, but we're not out. Tonight, we're going to take a more calm dog, if you will. An 18-year-old golden retriever, if you will, of a dog. Just one that's kind of, it's quiet, it's nice, it's around. Let's go with Kansas plus 114 to beat Arizona tonight.
Perfect. It's got to happen sometime, right?
Just get a quick little win. Plus 114, hit it. We're kind of coasting off of that big parlay we hit. This one, just get it back in rhythm. Get him back in rhythm. You gotta get the robber off his rhythm. And today we get back in rhythm with Kansas taking on Arizona at Fog Allen. Alrighty. Middays, Matt, been a good episode. It's a fun one. Touched on everything except for things that we teased. So that's always a great mark of a good radio show.
Yeah.
So having fun here on 1620 The Zone. We're going to have more fun up next with Unsportsmanlike Conduct and the crossover coming up next.